evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wargaming.net League North America 2017 fall season. I am James Rockstar Grieve, joined alongside by Randall Rookhill Holcomb.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing great. It's good to be back.
Yeah,
I cannot stand going on break, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just the energy just gets sucked out of my life.
Yep.
And now that we're back with tanks, right back
You
in
just
there.
inhaled an energy drink right before we started.
Oh,
Now you're
man,
just all ready to go,
like
all jazzed up.
Like 6 energy drinks worth.
Yeah, got all these cool changes coming in this season, new format, new map in the map pool, new ban process, all sorts of cool stuff.
And the implications of which are huge, but we won't be getting into those immediately. We'll get into those when they come up. You'll see map picking, you'll see bans, all that later. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, but let's talk about social.
Ooh, social first. Remember, we're still on at WGLNA. We're also bringing back fantasy with better prizes than ever.
Fantasy at fantasytanks.com. Type 59's up for grabs every single match day, along with a whole lot of gold. It is a whole ton of fun. So make sure you get in there and you pick your roster. New features and new fantasy formula as well this season. So if you want to see more about that, that can be found on the fantasy site. So make sure you get in there.
Yeah, there's practically, what is it, like, it's almost scientific studies level of, like, just detail.
Oh, yeah, no one wrote full theses about the new fantasy formula. So if you're really one of those nerds that want to understand it and want to game the system, go in there and read it.
Oh, yeah. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Of course, we also go on Facebook Live/WGLNA before the show. And I hope you guys caught that pre-show from Ute and from BTED.
Yep, that'll be before every match day. That'll be on the official Wargaming channel at twitch.tv/wargaming. BTED and Ute will sit there and talk about everything fantasy, and we'll be on live, like Randall said, on the Facebook show just before that. So plenty of World of Tanks stuff coming at you guys.
Oh, yeah. So let's get straight to it then.
Yep.
First match of the night, we're going to be bringing you Elevate, the best team to ever grace North America.
Not to mention the third best team in the world right now, arguably. They fell short to Ding in the semifinal match after beating L Gaming, so they have shown that they can compete internationally. You will notice a few roster changes. Nit's no longer with the team, and Germ no longer with the team. Only bringing in one player to replace him. That is going to be Striker. When I asked Comps about him, he said he was basically a clean slate. He was a block of clay that he can mold themselves. He has no competitive history, even though he's a very good World of Tanks player.
And that's perfect, because if you have a player like that, they don't have these habits from back in 742. You've got a new format, meaning there's these tiny little things that you've just gotten accustomed to, right, as a player.
Yep.
You're used to seeing a tier 8 here or there, but Strikers might be able to show Elevate and the rest of the team, even the league, that there are some new lessons still.
And I've heard there's a good chance that we'll get to see him in the near future because of external school schedule. Now, the other team they're playing, the newest team to the WGLNA Gold League, is Teal Team 6. They were the second place team in Silver League last season. They slugged it out over 2 weeks during the Gold League qualifiers. Ended up beating Valence, a former Gold League team, in the finals to join us here. And if you look at this roster, there's going to be some familiar names, including some ones that you are familiar with.
Ah, of course. If you're referring to Zombie Food and Bananas to the Walls, another team, other players, of course, worth mentioning. But those are two players that we all know and love from the Googly Bobbers way back. And they had an insane run for their first season when they hit it big. But now, Zombie and Bananas, after migrating around, have rejoined on Teal Team 6.
Yep, and they're joined by a couple other players like Bloop, and then Supernova was on Siebel to tweet for part of his season. Very talented individually, known to be a little bit of a loose cannon at times, so definitely someone you got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and you know these players fairly well, so I'm going to be leaning on you in the match to give us a little bit of that insight into the players' choices and their strengths and weaknesses. We'll get, of course, once we're in match, we'll be able to show you guys plenty of that.
Yeah, so overall, I'm just really excited to see what maps we're going to play, because we were talking about that. There are some new maps in the map pool, and I'm excited to say we will get to see it tonight.
Yes, Sand River is the one we're talking about. We've removed Steph's, added Sand River. And like we were talking about before, down below you are just now seeing our new graphic for the map picking. First are 2 bans. You're going to see Muravonka banned out, and Ghost Town are going to be removed. Now, after 2 bans, 2 picks. Himmelsdorf from Teal Team, Himmelsdorf chosen by Elevate.
And then Teal Team 6 picked Defense for the first round. And then we'll see Sand River for the first time this season in our first match. And that will be Elevate picking Defense. And that is a very defensively sided map. So that should be a lot of fun and one tough nut to crack for Teal Team 6.
Yep, and then you're going to see Proc and Cliff banned out. Cliff is a normal ban. We rarely get to see Elevate see it. So that's no problems there, no question. It's very normal. And then, of course, Mines, Teal Team 6, is going to defend on that, and then Cliff to finish us off. Now, we will also have a tiebreaker that we'll tell you guys a little bit about later, and we'll break that down at the appropriate time. But you now know all of the maps in the series so far.
Yeah, and the last map will actually be, it was Cliff Band. The last map will actually be Ruinberg in the series.
Was just a little mix-up there?
Yeah,
that's fine. So Ruinberg to finish out. Lots of city. So Himmelsdorf to start this off, and to end it with another, like, Ruinberg.
Yeah, and I like that band coming out of Elevate. Cliff is a map that can leave a lot up to chance, and when you're a team like Elevate that's so strong individually, you don't want to put anything up to chance. You want to leave it to your players to decide that one. So a map like Cliff, where, if the team sets up wrong, they can just be overmatched within the first 30 seconds of the game. That's not something you want to do.
Yeah, it's a more risky map. But Himmelsdorf, you can almost guarantee that 1-for-1. And actually, let's bring this up real quick. Teal Team 6, you were talking to them, and before the broadcast, Rox was talking to me about Teal Team 6 and how confident that they were.
They definitely seem confident. They realize their limitations. They understand that they are going up versus one of the best teams in the world.
But what did they say? How many matches? Or rounds?
They felt they could get a couple rounds off. I'm not going to put a number up there. They said they could feel like they could get a couple rounds off them if they play their best. And we'll have to see if they can bring their best tonight.
We will, because the thing about Elevate is, last season, I can't remember them. Did they even go to a tiebreaker? Am I misremembering? I don't think they even went to a tiebreaker.
Not last season, no.
No, they swept everyone. The closest match, I believe, was Eclipse, and they're our second place team. Of course, the team to take the most off of them. But Eclipse came close.
And I believe they had 8 5-0s on the season last season. Mm-hmm. So they're a team that does not give anyone, once they have their foot on the team's throat, they do not let up.
Yep, and actually we are now ready to speak with the representatives of Elevate and Teal Team 6 to tell us all about their expectations for the match. Welcome to the broadcast, Comps from Elevate and Greg from Teal Team 6.
Comps, no washing machine?
Nope.
Nope. New place. How's it going, Greg? Welcome to the Gold League for the first time.
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, now I'm going to start with Greg, just because you are the newest one here. Why don't you go ahead and fill us in on Teal Team 6, your background, how you guys got here, and what the fans should know about your team.
This is only our second season in the league. I mean, we just got sort of started by random. Once last season in silver, we ended up getting to the finals there, and we made the push to gold during the quals. And here we are, second season team.
Yep. Now,
boom.
Yeah, can't disagree with that.
Excitement right there. I would love to jump over to Eclipse for a moment, or Elevate. Oh, God. Elevate.
I know it's been a long offseason,
It's been a long offseason, Comps. Give me a break here. Comps, you guys have picked up Striker, new player. What's the deal with him? I've heard a little bit of what James has told me, but I want to hear it straight from you. What are your expectations for your new player?
Well, he comes from the console side, so he was one of the best players on Xbox, so we figured that we'd use some of that experience over on the PC side. Like James said, it was like he's a fresh block of clay, so we're able to mold them into exactly what we want. So that's good for us.
Yep. Now you're going up versus Teal Team 6, a team that you really can't scout out. You don't know what they've done on other maps. You don't have that sort of same access that you do to some of these other previous Gold League teams. Does that kind of throw your guys' game off, or are you guys just going to go business as usual?
I mean, we're ready for everything. We've been practicing a lot leading up to this season, so whatever they throw at us, we should have an answer for it. So business as usual. Yep.
All right, and then Greg, lastly to you, I mean, not to intimidate you, but you're playing arguably the third best team in the world right now, one of the teams that's won the most in North America through the history of World of Tanks here. Have you guys done anything special this season, or are you guys just, or for today anyways, are you guys ready to go?
Right now we're ready. I mean, we've been elevating our performance. We're finally at the apex of our team. Our comps are great, and we're just hoping not to have a rude awakening during the season.
Wow. Okay, that's one way to finish off. Comps, I mean, is there anything to follow that with?
Good luck and have fun.
All right, thought so. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the Face-Off. We'll see you on the battlefield.
That's one way to introduce yourself to the Gold League.
Yeah.
Gotta love some memes.
Oh, man. Greg he's sure to bring up some good stuff. He is
definitely.
He is infamous for his...
May not always be great World of Tanks play, but at least we've got the memes.
Yes, always has plenty of memes. So... After getting out of that, I did not know that Striker was an Xbox player. No one had told me that part.
No, I had not heard that, actually, which does make a lot of sense because if you look at his profile statistically, very, very strong player. So, it's just no one's ever seen him around before. He hasn't played in the Gold League before, so he definitely has a lack of experience in terms of the overall competitive play, playing in a LAN setting, all those sort of things. But I think he can make the adjustment just based upon his skill alone.
Yeah, and actually, I want to take a quick tangent because we're going to have just a minute before we get into battle and talk a little bit about the new format. We have just changed into the 770 format, meaning there is no longer a reason to pick anything but a tier 10. You can still pick something that's not a tier 10, but with 7 players and 70 points, every player can bring a tier 10. In previous seasons, our regular viewers will be familiar with the fact that there was some choice in that matter. You could choose 2 tier 9s, or you could choose a single tier 8 to bring in your team.
Yep, and you have to remember we have tier 10 light tanks now. That's something we didn't see a whole lot last season. We saw it during the grand finals very briefly. The new Artie mechanics will also be in there, and then the new Foch B, which was added just last week. That's another tank that I think will definitely be seen at some point tonight.
Yes, absolutely. The Foch B is something that I know that you've gotten a lot more experience with. I really am not a good TD player. Whenever I get into a TD, my habit is, of course, forward is the best direction. But with the Foch, you can't quite be a front line just damage dealer all day, can you?
No, but its strong point is it has a 6-round clip. So it's the gun off the AMX-50B, but with 6 shells instead of 4. And so if you do the math, that's 2,400 alpha in a single clip over 10 seconds. So if you can track someone out in the open or just find them in an open field where they can't run to cover, you can pretty much delete them within that 10-second gap, which is mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah, and as a tank in the mix with another medium or heavy, that's where it's going to shine.
Yeah.
On its own, I don't think it's going to really be able to do enough because you're going to waste a whole clip on a mouse and get that one bounce or two or shot into the track that's going to ruin the kill, right? But if you have that medium or heavy tank with you, the single fire, consistent fire guy who can help out, that's where I think the Foch is going to find its strength. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. The old Foch was famous before it was nerfed for being a tank that you would just throw behind a bunch of mediums in a wolf pack. And so you'd have the mediums go in there and brawl, and then you'd have 3 or 4 Foch 155s come up and just destroy things. Just because they were so fast. They could keep up with the mediums. Now, this isn't as fast as the old 155, but it does make up for it with just the raw clip potential. So I definitely agree that we'll see it in a mix with other tanks is where it'll definitely be strongest. The other thing to note, it doesn't have heat shells, so it may struggle a little bit low pen versus, say the mouse.
So at range is the real problem because the thing
versus heavily armored targets.
Of course. Although it won't have to worry as much about spaced armor, right? Because your gold shells are just APCR, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the trade-off is there. But you just have to understand, of course, how to use it properly, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, it sounds like we're having a few delays, actually, so we're going to go ahead and take a short break. We'll figure out everything. When we come back, we'll get right into the action. It looks like all our audio issues have been sorted out. Sorry about the delay, folks. We should be ready to get started in just a few minutes, it looks like, or just a minute. I think the countdown's about to start, so we will be underway nonetheless. We do have Himmelsdorf up first between Elevate and Teal Team 6, a map that Elevate pretty much never lost on last season, except for the season finals versus top tier. They went 1-1. And then at the grand finals, they played it versus L Gaming, and they smoked them on Himmelsdorf. So this is going to be a tall task for Teal Team 6.
Now, the big question for me is, okay, there have been changes, and this is where I always seek to find, right, is Teal Team 6 could very well stumble upon a strategy which wins out. Slight variations and changes here and there within lineups and within just the balance of the game. The fact that we've kind of pulled back a little bit on those mouse buffs that we saw a little while ago that we ended our last season on, that's going to mean the mouse is not quite as strong. And I'm wondering if that'll mean large changes in lineups, or if that will mean a lot more conservative mouse play.
I think the changes to the mouse will make it so it kind of fits a little bit more into the role that it's intended for. Before, it kind of became the end-all, be-all of heavy tanks. It was the tank that everyone would just drive at you to just beat your face in, essentially.
Yeah.
And now with the changes, losing the 200 HP, a little bit DPM buff, it still has all its armor. So what it'll be used for instead is a stall force, the anvil and a hammer and anvil type strat, essentially.
It's going to be used to pin the opponent. Probably, let's think the banana is a common spot on Himmelsdorf to kind of hold your opponent up. But, of course, we could be seeing an attack from any of 4 different directions.
Yep, and then also on maps like Himmelsdorf, like we're seeing right now, you have to remember the mouse is a very, very, very large tank, and you can very easily hide a tank behind it, as we have the map picks, or not map picks, but the team picks coming in here. And not anything too surprising. The 2 5As, we actually didn't even talk about that new Chinese heavy tank. 2 mouses, 250Bs, and an IS-7. An IS-7 also received a slight buff during the last patch. Meanwhile, Teal Team 6, a 113, a 50B, an IS-4, which is, that one's a little bit eye-opening. 2 mouses and 2 E3s. And one other thing I want to talk about before we start this game, I got to talk about how much I love Teal Team 6's name. A little bit of a shout out there to all the teals everywhere. For those that know what I'm talking about, you get it.
Because you yourself are teal.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Everyone was at one point, though. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Every single person that played this game was a teal at some point.
This is true.
So, gotta love them. And we are just a few seconds away from being into battle. It will be Elevate on the offense. Teal Team 6 continuing to show us what they're made of right now.
All right. And you'll have to excuse us beginning of the season. Yes, the camos are wrong. Nothing we can do to avoid that right now, so I'm just going to call it out, right? We'll fix that for next battle. So, first things first, let's focus on the major movements of the attacking team. Following Canadian Impact, that 50B, with his battle buddy right behind him, that's Vetro. Looks like they're going to be heading straight up the mid, and that's going to be External to come meet them in an IS-7 around the middle of the map. At the same time, that Teal Team 6, blue team, is going to be heading right down the west side. That's an aggressive move with the 113 50B combo.
Yeah, and they're getting kind of strung out right now, so they need to be careful not to overextend because they have an IS-4 and an E3 sitting up in base at A5, so they don't want to push too far down there, or they could create a separation.
I'll point out that the IS-4 from Teal Team 6 in Alpha 5 up north is spotted and is taking a little bit of fire from our 50Bs. It doesn't quite look like they're going to be able to get a real connection. No, 221 from the IS-7 in HE. That's a little sting.
The IS-4 is a very interesting tank in regards to being a very situational tank. In certain situations, it is one of the strongest heavy tanks in the game. It can side scrape exceptionally well. It can hold down exceptionally well. But in other regards, it's considered the worst of the heavy tanks in the game. It's very slow. It only has a 400 alpha gun, which is relatively lackluster compared to the other tier 10 heavies. So like the new 5A has a 490 alpha gun, and the penetration's mediocre. So, all in all, when you can bring a tank like this 5A here from Brett, definitely something to keep an eye on.
So yeah, let me kind of probe a few little play questions for that one then. So why the 5A over the IS-4 then?
5A is going to be a lot quicker. It's going to have higher DPM. The 490 alpha is also going to be nice, especially if you're trying to focus fire, take a tank out, less guns, do more damage.
Okay.
And it looks like we're going to see Dodoma in the mouse starting to push up the 8 line right now.
He is spotted. I'll note that one right now, looking at the perspective of our Teal Team 6 team. Dodoma is going to be heading up what we call the banana, where this is going to be Elevate's little poke at trying to make some kind of headway, get some control. Time's a factor, right? You want to have enough control about 5 minutes in that there's somewhere to go, that there's a real resolution to this battle. Because if you wait too long, I'll point out another change. Now that we're in 770, that means more hit points per team overall. It means it's going to take you slightly longer, possibly, to deal all the damage that you used to be able to deal in a little bit less time.
Yep, so no longer the tier 8 light tanks at the very least. We'll see tier 10 light tanks, and if not, we'll just see tier 10, mediums and heavies, which have a significantly higher amount of HP overall.
And it looks like the shift coming out of Teal Team 6 as a response to the aggression they've already found is to pull back a little bit into the northwest. This isn't a full retreat, and it doesn't look like an overreaction yet, but I do feel like Elevate's gonna figure out the weak point here, and they'll just flood into the north. What do you say, Rox? Do you think this is gonna turn out many other ways?
No, I think this is a bait strat, essentially, that Teal Team 6 might be falling for. Dodoma showing up by that 2-cap with no one else really there to support. Remember how I was talking about Hammer and Anvil? Well, Dodoma is that Anvil, and they're trying, Elevate that is, or trying to convince Teal Team 6 that they need to rotate more of their tanks over there. So they need to, once they move tanks out of that 2 line, it'll be open for the rest of Elevate here to swing in and come underneath, which is going to leave Teal Team 6 with one of 2 options: to push into that mouse, which has the 150B covering them, or to try to take the rest of Elevate head on, neither of which are particularly great situations to be in.
Yeah, I can see that. Now look at where Viral is right now. That IS-4 defending on Teal Team 6 side, he is now looking, or at least poking over towards Dodoma's position. And he was able to spot Dodoma for a moment, but it looks like he's not able to anymore, which is probably going to be pretty concerning. Oh, looks like that was an HE shell fired by our IS-4. Very difficult to spot there, but HE to try and maybe splash the mouse.
Yeah, but and also remember what I was talking about. The IS-4, it has a relatively lackluster gun for a tier 10 heavy, and that HE shell will not do a whole lot of splash damage. It'll do a little, but not as much as, say, an E100 or a Type 5. Now, this position that Viral is in,
he's moving out of it now.
Very strong position if he stays there. Now this is where he's going to get caught out. Look at all the damage going on to Viral. He's getting caught out right now. He's down to almost 2 shots.
1 shot left. He fires. It does not remove the cap. And now with 4 seconds left on reload, he's going to find some cover. But this is not good for Viral. He's taken way too much damage. I see a little in the background. 50B taking 1 shell, and you're going to see a response start to kind of happen for Teal Team 6, although I wish it were happening sooner or faster. I don't know how long Viral's going to last, and once he goes down, that's the last chance for a cap reset. 2 seconds left. If he resets here, that's it. That's
HE. He doesn't get it. The HE
Nope.
doesn't do damage. That's what I was talking about. That is going to be a cap out for Elevate. They are going to start off the series 1-0 over Teal Team 6.
okay. That's one way to do it.
And everyone that does not have Dodoma on their fantasy team is crying right now because they all got exactly, I don't know, 5 points out of that. Dodoma at least got the cap points, which now, once again, I mentioned that Unknown One changed the formula for the fantasy league. So capping, I believe, counts for a little bit less, but still more points than anyone else got that game.
Yeah, because no kills. There were... Okay, let's cut to the chase. That shouldn't have happened. If you're Teal Team 6, you shouldn't let that happen. Viral tried to get HE. Where he was firing was into tracks, but it's a mouse. Yep. And the problem when you're firing HE at a mouse is you need to hit those cheeks, don't you?
Well, the biggest problem there with that IS-4 was he hit the side skirt of the mouse. So instead of hitting the track, he hit the spaced armor on the side. You have to at least partially damage the tracks to get the reset. Instead, it just bounced off the side, and being the low caliber, it didn't have the same splash radius that a bigger gun would have had, and so it didn't get the reset.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking the cheeks would have been more successful.
Yeah, well, you would have had to hit the gun, would have been the bare minimum thing. The cheeks, not necessarily with the HE, you wouldn't have penned, but if you hit the gun, there's at least a little bit of a chance at damaging the gun and getting the reset that way.
Oh, I was thinking splashing off the cheeks and at the top armor of the
engine deck. It is an option for the bigger guns, but I don't know, once again, that the IS-4 has the power to do it with the smaller 122 that it has.
You're right. That's something where you're not going to get super consistent performance. Now, looking at the post-battle stats, you can see that's not a lot of damage being dealt. Wall hacks. Look, you're getting double-digit fantasy points here. It's not a lot so far. So it's not exactly the most exciting start to a match, but a win is a win, and Elevate's going to take that and feel quite secure.
Yep.
With a win like that. And Teal Team 6 is going to sit there and probably shake their heads a little bit and go, oh my gosh, I cannot believe we let that happen.
Yep. Now, another thing to keep an eye on, Wallhacks, Elevate's caller, one of the best callers in the league right now. Because of the rule changes up to 770, that means he has to play a tier 10 every single game, so a little bit more responsibility on him. Now, the one thing I will put to his credit is he's such a good caller that most of the time his gun even shouldn't matter then, but it's still going to be a little bit extra pressure for him to step up and handle. He should be up for the task. I don't think it will be a problem, but just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, just something to watch out for. So let's take a look at the lineup as we're getting ready for battle number 2. It looks like we're going to see 113s coming back, a few of those 5As again, and this time Bat Chat.
Yep, as well as a Type 5. That should be interesting. Big
HE?
old HE gun. They are the ones defending now. Meanwhile, Teal Team 6 coming in here with 2 113s, 2 50Bs, 2 WZ5As, and a Bat Chat. Once again, Supernova playing the Bat Chat. That's the tank that we will see him in 90% of the time.
Yeah, Bat Chat's always a fun tank for me. I love following those guys around. And where are we going if we're going to go follow him? Now, let's follow our blue team first. We want to watch, of course, where they're going. The defensive positions out of Elevate look to be fairly typical West Side story. On Teal Team 6 side, we're going to see that Bat Chat, Supernova, moving out to the west. We'll have to watch and see if First Contact is actually going to end up being our Bat Chats fighting against each other.
That would be pretty entertaining to watch. I don't know if either of them would be loaded. No, they should both be loaded at this point. So they have shots. And Supernova is going to come down here on the bottom corner. Canadian Impact going to look for him opposite. And Nova's going to get out of there without actually spotting anyone. He's going to keep running, and Impact's just going to hold.
Actually, Anime Lord Brett got picked up, I believe, for a moment there. So he'll get spotted for a second. Supernova actually getting, we could call this greedy. We could call it hungry. He's going to back up and look for a target. Oh, he does find Canadian Impact. Canadian firing into a train.
Hitting that oil car there. Shell not going through.
And this is a tricky part to play in on this map. The tracks and the trains atop them are at such a height that higher level tanks actually have difficulty firing under them.
Where tanks like IS-7s, for example, lower profile tanks actually have an easier time getting through, as opposed to something like a Mouse or 215B.
A Mouse will struggle significantly, especially when you're right up close to those tracks. They'll get in your way and they'll cause all sorts of trouble. So something to watch out for. The way you play those is it has to be well calculated. But I'm going to change that around. Look at where Supernova and Love Hitman are going now. Oh, but first on another part of the map, External has found one of our old classic positions where in the 113, he is going to be peeking down.
The G line there, where he's going to have some shots, and that's something we were just talking about tank profiles and how high or low tanks are. The 113 just high enough to see through that gap. That's the tank that a Mouse would actually be excellent in. However, if you look at his shot right here, look at that. Just the tiniest of shots, but it's enough to get vision down that G line, maybe get a spot there and or get a shot of damage.
Yeah, it's very difficult to return fire, very easy to put a shell out in just the right spot. Also consider that spotting is working out for you, so you're able to find targets and see them without the risk of peeking out and taking a lot of damage.
Yep, it is a very low-risk situation unless they hard commit down that 2-3 line, but when you have a 5A and a Bat Shot in the south. And see, here comes one of the lights talking about right now, and he's going to find the shot, and there he gets it, 447.
One shell left, and he's going down. He's at 361 hit points.
Yeah, Mountain Goat needs to be careful here. He's left in a really tough situation. He's trying to get intel into the north, but with External holding this angle here, there's not a whole lot of options for him.
Yeah, but look at the positions right now from Teal Team 6, and look at the way they are up on top of the hill. Zombie Food, Supernova, Love Hitman, and Bloop. 4 tanks are up top. Now, I'm curious as to what Zombie Food's going off to do. Zombie is kind of peeking over one of the edges, and that worries me slightly because that might spoil the element of surprise, but it doesn't look like he's going to get spotted. And with that, it looks like there's going to be a major push coming out of the northeast, where looking at the mini-map, this is what you have to pay attention to. Look at that Bat Chat, the WZ 5A, and the 113, all way on the southwest. They're not going to be able to react very quickly to this attack. And so, if this has enough violence of aggression, then we're going to see a strong engagement from Teal Team 6. If they slow down, I'm expecting Elevate should be able to recover and make...
Oh, remember what I said about Hammer and Anvil strat. This is exactly that. They have to push into this Anvil right now and try to take him out. This is 2 very high HP guns. I doubt they'll be able to make too much progress. As I say that, Wallhack's taking a lot of damage.
Yep, Supernova jumping right on that mouse, just unloads. Staying out of the way, nicely played, and look at that, 50B and 5A come in to finish the job. This is some solid teamwork we're seeing out of Teal Team 6. At the same time, small skirmish in the south, Mountain Goats going down, and that's going to be the flank open for Teal Team 6 as they push forward and try to pressure the northern cap of Elevate.
Yep, and now they know that both these 50Bs have emptied all their shots, and it looks like Elevate's going to try to push back in here. Dodoma's going to creep forward. Ox in that Type 5 is going to come in here with that HE derp gun loaded. He's going to fire a shot. Not going to connection. Vetro and that looks like External in that 113, both coming up here as well.
But look at Bloop, he's incredibly low, and right now the positions from Teal Team 6 are split. They're going to be able to put fire onto Bloop. At the same time, Canadian is taking on Supernova. Supernova does not have the hit points to survive the engagement. He will go down. Canadian Impact is just tearing apart the rear positions of Teal Team 6. Zombie Food comes in to back up, and yes, he should be able to take down Canadian.
Yep, and Elevate just capitalizing on the one-on-ones, winning their fights. They're just ignoring the WZ5A up in that pocket. They're just pushing forward. They do find the kill onto Viral, and Emu should be next.
There we go. This looks like it's going to go in favor of Elevate unless something crazy happens. But Elevate had a strong response. Bring around the southern flank. Teal Team 6 had an aggressive push, but right now they're split. They're not together at all. They're unable to really support each other, and that's what you have to appreciate about it, the way Elevate handled this situation.
Yep, now I do like the play out of Bloop there to put his tank in a position where Hitman can stay alive from it. However, the problem is he can't really get out of here without pushing that tank around, and two, he's pretty much isolated himself out of the fight. He's been able to get a few shots of damage off, but Elevate just ignored him largely and just cleaned up the rest of the team while he was stuck here in this pocket. Great decision making there out of Wallhacks and Elevate.
All right, that's going to do it. I feel like we could just put that point on the board already for him. Elevate's going to dominate Himmelsdorf in their regular fashion.
Yeah, well, welcome to the Gold League Teal Team 6. That's Elevate on Himmelsdorf for you.
Oh, yeah. Always love seeing them. I was a little worried about that southwest position that we saw from Elevate. They seemed a little spread out.
Yep, no, they were a little bit spread out, but once again, talking about the hammer and anvil type strats, that's exactly what that was set up to do. Now, Wallhacks did get deleted, and I do like the focus fire there out of Teal Team 6. Very good team play, good focus of fire, took him down quickly. But the problem was Dodoma was a little bit further back behind him, and the rest of the guns were able to rotate very quickly. So while they got through one mouse, which took them probably 20 seconds to kill.
And a lot of ammo.
And a lot of ammo, and their autoloaders had to reload. That was enough time for Elevate to do exactly what they wanted, which was regroup and repush together. And you saw a few of the tanks for Teal Team 6 try to go down to the south, get separated from the rest of their team, who ended up getting isolated and picked off. And Elevate was able to just group up their heavy tanks in the north, push in, clear the cap, and from that point it was pretty much over.
Yeah, but I have to appreciate Teal Team 6 is showing us that they may really be a team that belongs in the Gold League. They're showing the signs that they have the right strategic mindset. They're going for the right kind of moves. Their execution needs a little bit of work. Of course, a lot of this is also kind of magnified, you could say,
yeah, now,
by the fact that they're facing Elevate.
You cannot write Teal Team 6 off just after this game. This is versus the number one seeded team in North America.
Absolutely.
So we always knew it was going to be a tall task. I question whether or not they'd get around. They felt they'd get many. However, a little bit of a reality check. Welcome to the Gold League, boys.
Yeah. If the top team in the Gold League has usually been of a quality that they're really going to stomp on everyone else.
Yep.
It just seems like that little edge is enough to send you over that. And look at this.
The left Hitman, remember when I said, I'd like to play out of Bloop. He turned his tank sideways. He knew it was going to die. 50B is not going to bounce a shot at that range, so he gave left Hitman cover. And while they ignored him, he only pumped out 4,300 damage, which arguably he should have gotten more considering it was in pretty much a farm position. So still did a good job there. And then Vetro just...
Who's surprised?
Getting the resets. Yeah, exactly. Vetro sat on the bench last season. A lot of people have kind of forgotten about him to a certain extent. And now he's back in here picking up the slack and doing a great job. Wallhacks down there in the mouse, who got evaporated pretty early on. No surprise there. When you have 6 guns in your face, instantly, not a whole lot you're going to do, even in a mouse.
Yeah, and then Goat was in that position on the south side of
that 113. Yeah, he got isolated. That was definitely difficult for him. But I think that about wraps Himmelsdorf up. And now we're on to Sand River.
This will be the first time all season.
First time all season. And now this is arguably...
We're 2 battles in.
Arguably, this is a decent pick for Teal Team 6.
Why?
Clean slate. No one's seen it. No one has any real established meta on it. So if they've done their homework and they have something maybe crazy to throw at Elevate, maybe they can pull some rounds off. We'll have to see.
Well, with a lineup with 3 WZ5As, 2 Bat Chats, and 2 Object 140s for Elevate, and on the other side a 5A, 4 Bat Chats, a Patton, and a T100 LT. This is my world. Okay, welcome back. All right, it's been a while. It's been heavy meta. I'm glad we got mediums now. So, Rox, you can just go, chill out for a bit. I got this.
This is one tank we actually haven't talked about, is the Patton. Received some buffs in the last patch, now has a much stronger turret. Doesn't have the giant Empire State hatch, as we like to call it on the American tanks.
Which I'm happy for, because honestly, that was the whole reason I disliked playing the tank. I did not like how soft it was, and just how easy it was to tear apart. It didn't matter my positioning. It didn't matter that I outplayed my opponent. He just looks at my turret, and he shoots me. And now I at least have a chance. So I like the new Patton. I think it's good. It's going to be a great support tank, but we're going to have to see if it gets in the right position. Now follow Wall Hacks. Wall Hacks here is on an opening scout run. Classic. Just the scout run that you always do. He's going to spot a number of tanks, the Patton and the T100 LT. And because of that, even zombie food in the back. That's perfect. And look at this. A little engagement, actually, is going to come out. And we're going to see Viral take some damage. This is good. This is what you want to do. If you're Elevate and you know you're going to have a scout that's going to be so annoying scouting for the rest of the team supporting him, you might take the risk and actually send a tank out to
kill him.
Just to kill him. I don't care if it's a trade.
I don't care if you die. I just don't want his light tank there.
Yeah, because the right light tank on Sand River is going to destroy you.
Sometimes it's worth trading the tank and the HP to make sure the other team lacks the vision.
Precisely. Just poke their eyes out, as it were. And look at this. I like the position I've just jumped to on Canadian Impact. He's going to be waiting all the way up in A7. In pub battles, you never get here. Not early in the battle. And so because TL Team 6 has given this up, this is an amazing position for Canadian to peek out, as he's doing right now, to start supporting. And there, shots on to Greg. This is great for him. This is exactly what you want. This could not be going better for Elevate. And with the amount of damage now dealt, with about 2,000 hit points difference, and look at that, Viral's down. Perfect, that's the scout out. And now with that, Greg starts taking damage as well. He's down to 50 hit points, wherever he is.
Now, fundamentally, I do like a little bit of what I've seen here out of TL Team 6, but Greg...
He's dead. There we go.
Getting traded out, not perfect. Now, the thing about Sand River is you have to establish map control, which means you have to have tanks everywhere, and you have to open up every angle possible, or it's going to favor the defender. So trying to stretch down south, the right idea, but moving those 5As in where they got isolated, I don't think they were ready for the 5A sitting down there on the G line from Elevate, who was able to get consistent shots off.
And let's keep following Dodoma for a minute, because look at this. This is exactly what you're talking about. You need to be aggressive. You have to be willing to take the first hits in order to gain control of Sand River, because you're right. It's all about that control. And Elevate has that control now. They've got the entire north. The south is very much easier to defend. So the entire southwest portion of the map, as a defender, you don't need to care about that much because you have positions that work. And the way we see Elevate aggressing right now, if they just keep this going, TL Team 6 isn't going to have time to come up with a response. You need at least a minute or two to reconnoiter so that you can actually address what Elevate's doing.
This is brutal coming out of Elevate. They are suffocating TL Team 6. They know they're up 2 guns, and so they're just leaving their defensive posture. They're pushing up. They're taking map control. They're making it so they can't even leave their base right now.
Yep.
This is clinical Elevate. This is them realizing they have the advantage, they understand that they're up, and they are leaving TL Team 6 with literally no options.
Yeah, if you asked me to look at just the mini-map right now and judge who was going to win or who was going to lose based on what I'm reading right here, right now, I would be telling you Elevate. They should absolutely win. 2 tanks up, and on top of that, positions on the map are superior. TL Team 6 might play for time. They might play for just trying to figure out what to do on the other side of the map. But attacking on Sand River is hard. That's the tricky part. And you're seeing that shift happen right now into the south. This is just for the kills, guys. Like, the reason Brett, Wallhacks, and Vetro are down there is because they've got TL Team 6 on the run. TL Team 6 has to figure out a way of baiting this or something.
Now, Doma might actually go down here as he's moving in. Canadian Impact trying to simp for him right now. They're sitting up there in the north. Doma does go down. Canadian Impact is safe, though. However, that is a tank down for the team of Elevate.
Yeah, but Bloop's going to go down. And with that, 4 tanks remain for the side of TL Team 6. They're going to hold up in their spawn. Hitman's in a low position. Emus gets spotted heading into the backfield of Teal Team 6's base. And it looks like Supernova's a little bit cut off. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. If there's any form of escape, yes, okay. If I'm reading, look at this right now. Look at the way Zombie Food and Emus are moving. I'm guessing, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing they're going to group up, go out the back of their base, take out the Bat Chat, and then try and do something. If they don't do that, I see them dying in 2 minutes.
If people have paid attention at all in the last year, one of my favorite phrases to say is, when you're surrounded, just pick up everything and go.
Yep.
And this is exactly what Teal Team 6 need to do, and they need to do it sooner rather than later because they are bleeding HP, and at this point it's pretty much already done. When you have no options and you're together, pick an angle and just go. There was 2 tanks up in the north. They could have just grouped up. They're going to bleed HP. You're going to lose tanks. Being in a crossfire is never the place you want to be, ever.
Yep.
But once you're in one, you don't have any options. You sit there, you're going to die inevitably, so you have to try to do something to try to claw in to get a win.
And there we go. Zombie Food, Hitman go down, and that's going to do it. Battle number 3. Well, there is another one. That was a good example, I think, for everyone, if you watch that, of how to defend very effectively.
Yep.
Now, I'll also point this one out. I don't think Teal Team 6 brought an appropriately aggressive strategy. Their scouting was okay. Their support fire was not.
Elevate took advantage of Teal Team 6 playing what is at least the current meta on the map, which is a year and a half old.
Yeah.
Essentially, they did their homework. They managed to find the isolation. You have to be really, really careful when playing Elevate. You have to do everything calculated. So while the light tank getting up there early was good, you can't afford to have him stay there unless you know you have south control. And that's exactly what they didn't. Look at the 5A right there on the G line and the Bat Chat down on the J line for Elevate. That is positions that Teal Team 6 arguably needed to field before they could even consider putting a light tank in there long term.
Absolutely. Now, as we get ready for them to switch sides, here's what I'm going to be watching out for. This will be the time when we watch for Elevate to show us the perfect aggression. Now, I want to actually run back to a point when you were making about Teal Team 6 on the strategy, old meta. And that old meta year-old strat is derivative of a previous version strategies of Sand River. So when Sand River didn't have the same exact outline, when it didn't have that whole northern area that you could play in, the opening scout runs and all of those moves were derivative of that old stuff.
Yep. Now, they're taking positions which give them a lot of intel. However, it's positions that Elevator know they're going to try to use. And as you saw there, they were ready for it. They were set up to counter it out. So overall, it was just a clinical play there by Elevate, really showing that they've done their homework during the offseason and they didn't go and take a nap, even though they took several weeks to tour Europe over the last Grand Finals. They came home and they got right back to work.
It is a team-building exercise, touring Europe.
I would definitely agree. And I mean, it was, it had to be a great experience for that team as a general. They went to the Grand Finals, they played very well, and they got to take a trip around Europe, and then they come back and they get back doing their homework, starting their scrims, and getting in here, playing in the Gold League again. Can't blame them.
At this point, I feel like it's just that kind of a habit. You wake up, you go for a 5-mile run, you finish, you do the rest of your day, right?
Yep.
Eventually, that just becomes habit. That's what it's like for these guys.
You know what else has become habit? It's just winning for Elevate, because they're just doing it so well right now. And looking at the lineups here, 5A is still coming out in force, 4 of them for Elevate, just trying to bully all these Bat Chats and Light Tanks from top tier, along with 2 Bat Chats and Vetro in the 140, one of his favorite tanks. Meanwhile, top tier, 2 5As, 3 Bat Chats, a Patton, and a 140 or an STRV 103. So not too surprising for a map like this. It will be interesting to see where they have him sit, what his perch essentially ends up being later in the game.
I see what you mean. Yeah, because if you can just slap him in the right position and keep that position relevant, you're fine. And of course if it doesn't stay relevant, what does that look like? Well, it's going to be a fight on a part of the map that he really can't support.
And this is clinical wall hacks. I've seen this before. Straight up the middle with the heavy tanks coming just straight up, getting in the face of Teal Team 6. You know how I just said they're hoping to bully? Well, this is exactly that. Shots being rifled off on the move onto the Bat Chats. A couple connections, but no penetrations. The heat shells from those 5As not getting the job done. They are moving in. Supernova has been caught out, getting a little bit too aggressive with that scout run, and it looks like the Bat Chat of Canadian Impact is going to come in here and clean him up. Down he goes, And that is not good for Teal Team 6. They are already looking at a 4-0.
Yeah, this is not good. And I'm looking at hesitation up in the hills right now from Teal Team 6. They're splitting to try and deal with this, sending Zombie Food and Viral, that's a Patton and a Bat Chat, down to the south, while they are going to keep Bloop, Love Hitman, Emus.
And this is clinical wall hacks, just bullying top tier in their inexperience. He is dictating the play right now. He is saying, we are going to get the cap pressure going. We are going to make you come to us. We want this fight. We know we have the 5As. Go ahead. Come in here with your Bat Chats. Come take the brawl. And there is 10 seconds left. And here comes one reset. So that they do manage to find that. However, look at how much HP Teal Team 6 is bleeding right now.
Absolutely. That's the big factor right there. And on top of this, look at the kind of...
Oh, and here comes the bait.
Yes. Okay.
They are caught out. Love Hitman, Viral, and Zombie Food are all in a world of trouble right now. They need to leave. The tanks up north need to respawn, but I don't think they'll be able to. This is going to be tanks going down. Viral being focused out. He's down to a one-shot. Love Hitman will probably be next. Zombie Food trying to do what he can to empty his clip and stall this push out. Viral takes another shot. Wallhacks takes a heat shell to his track. Greg ends up being isolated on the other side.
But Elevate's coming out ahead on hit points right now. The damage is definitely going in favor of Elevate. They're focus firing better. They're more grouped up. On the other side, Teal Team 6 isn't getting all guns on target as quickly, and they're going to start retreating. Zombie Food's backing off, alive, but that's all he's got.
The north end of Sand River is a very difficult place to play, and Elevate just showed exactly why. This little mountain that they are fighting on right now separates guns from the north, from the south of this part of the map, and Elevate just abused it. They got Teal Team 6 to respond to both sides. Once they realized they were separated, they abused it, they grouped up. Remember what I was saying about being surrounded? When you know there's tanks on both sides, you group up and you just go, and that is exactly what Elevate just did. And this Sturm Emil, while he's been able to get off some damage, I don't think it will be as effective as they wanted. In case you guys are wondering, the spot he's in right now is actually a boost. You have to be pushed up there by another tank. It's not a climb you can do by yourself in an STRV. We'll try to show that to you guys next time it happens. And this is going to be a clean wipe for Elevate, showing us that it is just business as usual as they make it 4-0.
Yep, one more and they will finish this one off. It's nice to see. It's nice to see Elevate win in such fashion. I mean, we always hold on a little bit for that surprise, but
everyone loves to root for underdogs. Let's not kid ourselves here. Everyone loves to root for underdogs, and this is a classic underdog story. This is Teal Team 6, the new kids on the block, the team that everyone is arguably writing off already, and Elevate just putting them in their place.
Well done. All right. So with that one, Sand River, I think we saw Elevate show us how it's done. I like the up the middle strat with the 5As. That's probably a keeper.
It's classic wall hacks.
Yeah, and it's a keeper because there aren't many other tank compositions that can get there that quickly with that many hit points and that much armor.
Yeah, well, exactly. And a 5A, very quick, heavy tank, just a little bit slower than they're a little bit faster than the 113. Yep. However, looking at it, the thing is if you try to peek somewhere where you can punish those 5As when they make that cross straight up the middle, there's going to be multiple guns looking at them, whether it's the 5As themselves or the guns they had on the ridges behind them ready to just poke and punish. So there really wasn't too many options for top tier other than just letting them top tier. Teal Team 6 just push in there. Be a little bit ahead of myself there. But overall, it was just a great play there from Elevate. Well, once again, well-calculated strat. They understood what they wanted to do. They had their game plan. They drove to cap. They said, we're sitting right here. We're here. Come and get us, Teal Team 6. And they tried to, but just a poor response from them. Just got picked off by Wallhacks. He read it perfectly, grouped up his tanks, picked the isolation, and there we go.
And look at that. You can see it in the stats. Vetro, Ox, Anime, well, we'll call him Brett. You see Anime Lord Brett. For short, Brett.
Previously got Emperor Brett.
Yes, he's decided that he's changed his affinity.
Lord of Anime now.
Yes, and External. All of them breaking 2K. And you're going to notice those fantasy points, much less than we had in the past. Now, Wallhacks in the Bat Chat. He's someone who kind of spikes on points, but doesn't deal as much damage. He does a good amount of spotting, got some cap points as well.
Some callers, they tend to put themselves in positions where they can go flank off by themselves. And what can happen is sometimes they put themselves in the perfect position to just sit there and do what we call farm, which is just fire your gun over and 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 over again, and just get a lot of damage. This was not one of those games, but definitely pay attention. Some of the other callers are notorious for doing it. Rude, we see do it time and time again, where the whole team's fighting off on one side and he's sitting, 500 meters away, just click, 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 and
Just blinking away.
And then all of a sudden you see the after game results, and it's just like, 5K damage. 5K damage? Okay. All right, rude. But either way, and Wallhacks, though, is definitely someone that it has the potential to do just that. So definitely keep an eye out for him as we get ready for what could be our 5th and final battle of the first series of the night.
And that, looking at the lineups, is going to be 2 5As again. Going to have 2 Bat Chats, TVP, 13 105s, 2 of them. And, Rocks. Rocks, was that a DC, or is that someone forgetting to ready up?
We'll have to find out.
We will, because that's rare. Very rarely does that actually happen.
And it would make sense, though, because this is Teal Team 6's first day in the Gold League, so admin's not giving them any slack at all, hitting ready as soon as it was ready. And as we go here into the first battle, from the looks of it, they're moving, so this seems to be live. And we get 2 13 105s coming out for Elevate. That is also another interesting pick. It's the light tank that we see the least of.
Hitman looks a little distracted there. Drives up and over a rock. Teal Team 6 probably not okay with the fact that they actually...
Well, maybe they thought this was the problem. They're Teal Team 6. They're used to playing with 6 people, so maybe that's the key to beating Elevate for them.
That would make a lot of sense. And it looks like Hitman's going to, instead of heading toward... Actually, I'm going to wait. I'm just going to see what he does. I'm going to see what you do. He's going to head toward the hill. At the same time, Elevate, having taken the hill, will have the high ground. Mouse moving on the bottom, and you can see Goat playing the mountain goat position. I mean, right?
He's getting up there all right.
Oh yeah. This is something a lot of people didn't know about when they changed the southern boost, how you could actually get into the high ground. It's trickier now.
The boosts on this side of the map were essentially changed, so you can still do them, but they're a lot more... there's a lot more vulnerability while you do the climbs.
And they're a little more difficult, I'd say.
Yeah. So difficulty increased a little bit, and the angles that they can fire from also changed. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Here you can see Goat peeking up, looking for Brett. Waiting for Brett. Looking.
He's staying obedient. He's making sure that he doesn't peek up while he's still spotted, or while Brett's looking for him, maybe trying to get him to lose a little bit of his focus, attention, so he can sneak another shot in there and not trade. And it looks like they now have a DC call.
It might have been a late. It might.
Man.
Oh, it looks like a
forfeit?
Forfeit or something. Elevate wins.
Loss of round, illegal lineup.
We'll have to check that out. All right. Well, that's going to do it.
Well, that was lackluster, but it happens. Teal Team 6 being welcomed to the Gold League. That's one way to do it. Elevate, for the first 4 rounds there, just putting their foot down on the throat and not letting up once. So there's every chance that they smelled blood. They went for it. They went for the kill, and they put them down in their place.
Ouch. All right. Well, that's going to do it. And with that one, that was anything but decisive.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the Himmelsdorf early on, that was just clinical. Now, Sand River, I had a little bit of hope for Teal Team 6 since it was the new map for the season. But overall, they just weren't really able to claw in there. I mean, you need to go back to the drawing board a little bit and draw out their strats. We do have the fantasy points, it looks like. So let's go ahead and look at post-match. Vetro coming in here top with 245. Now, one thing to remember is, like I said, the formula has changed. So these numbers don't seem as high as they used to be on the fantasy end. Wait until the night is over and you see all the points totaled up, and you can start getting a feel for how the new points are. Looking at it, Zombie Food, or Supernova, top performer for Teal Team 6, 165. So definitely something, Nova maybe a player for fantasy in the future, just when they're not playing Elevate. Dodoma down there on the bottom with wall hacks, no surprise there. So that about wraps that up for that one. You have any other post-match thoughts there?
I feel like there's not a whole lot other than to say congratulations, Elevate. Looks like you're still good at the game. Teal Team, welcome to the league. I hope that was a nice welcome.
Yep, it'll definitely, hopefully they don't make any more of these lineup mistakes going in the future. That's going to be definitely a learning lesson for them right now. Overall, though, pretty much about what we expected out of Elevate. Yeah.
I think that's it for me, too. What we'll be doing now is we'll be getting ready for Dare versus 07.
That's going to be our next match, so we're going to take a few minutes and get ready. And when that is all set up, we'll be back with our second match of the night. with second match of the night, which will be Dare versus 07. Just to fill you guys in, we got the full explanation of what happened there. One of the players for Teal Team 6 accidentally hit the spectator button right before the battle starts, which means they brought an invalid lineup, which is why we didn't see it on our end. However, nonetheless, if they have a spectator on the team, they could see both teams, and there wouldn't really be much of a challenge for Teal Team 6 in that case. So that turns into a forfeit loss for that round, and that is going to be Elevate with the 5-0.
Yep, so a little confusing when you don't know, but once you find out, it all becomes much clearer.
Yeah,
so
no, makes a lot more sense.
Well, just let's remind you guys, welcome back. I'm Rukil. This is Rockstar. First day of the WGL, and we're about to get into Dare versus 7. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the social media stuff that everybody needs to be following.
Follow us on Twitter at WGLNA. Follow the Facebook at WGLNA as well. We do the Facebook live show before the matches start around 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, and then right after that will be the Wargaming pre-show put on by BTED and Ute, so definitely make sure to check that out before this. All the fantasy updates, lineup changes, anything like that you could want in there. And then speaking of fantasy, we have the Fantasy League.
Yeah, and I believe they're giving a Type 59 out every single day.
Yep, Type 59 every single match day, along with a lot of gold, and you can find that at fantasytanks.com.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into this match. This is Dare versus 07. First roster we're looking at is Dare Rising.
Dare only bringing 8 players this season. However, every single one of these players has arguably earned their spot. Durgel has now taken over as captain. Aggressor has taken over as caller. And the main reason for that is they want 1-2-3, formerly known as My Little Putin, to have a lot less responsibility and just be able to play, because he's arguably their strongest player. They want him to just do what he does best, which is get lots of damage. Then you got Bird, Harmless, Nationwide, MacTap, and then Dark Ninja coming over from Aquatic M60s, one of their strongest players, joining the roster. And I've been told that it will be MacTap Putin on the bench.
Ah, very interesting. 07, they'll have Colisoid. We'll be adding Arclit. They're also going to be adding FC Dynamo. 3 players to watch out for.
Yep, Russians definitely. Russians and Ukrainians definitely got to keep your eye on them.
This is not just Russians. This is very good Russians.
Yeah, no, FC Dynamo played for Tornado Rocks a few seasons ago, so they've been around. They are great. And then Kolsoid played for WePlay in the Russian league for several seasons, so players to keep an eye on. And then Arclit, obviously, definitely one of those tacticians that can come up with the craziest strats. He goes, what are tanks? What is this tank good at? How can I use it? So if there's anyone that's going to bring the Foch beat tonight, I think we'll see it out of 07.
Which is just such a treat because of the first day. What do we want to see is all of those little changes from the patch come into play. And of course, 07 is not expected to win over Dare. Dare is the favored team in this match, in this lineup.
With the roster changes, I would put it closer than it would have been last season.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, last season, definitely a matchup that I would favor towards Dare. However, this season, with the new roster changes, which in my opinion strengthen the roster of 07, and just little changes to Dare. Now, with Dare making just several small changes, that could be just what they need. Sometimes no big changes is the right move. Let everyone kind of get into the groove. Make a few small little changes. Aggressor, you're now the caller. MLP, you can sit back and you can do what you do well. And sometimes just making those little adjustments can be what you need to really push yourself to that next level.
And pushing ourselves to the next little subject is our map choices for this series. We're going to be looking at Mines as map number 1, with Himmelsdorf and Ruinberg being your first 2 bands.
Neither of these teams wanting to play city maps. That is very clear.
That's fine with me. I don't know about you, Rox. That's fine with me.
And then Mines and Pro coming up first. So, yeah, we'll see if Foch B. I'm going to put money on that. Meanwhile, the next band's coming in here in a second. We'll have to see what those end up being. Proc, though, being banned by 07. Or being picked by 07. That's not too surprising. And then Ghost Town and Murrow. So once again, no city maps. Murrow, definitely an interesting map there. And then the last map, Sand River is the last map, not Murrow. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. So we may get to, if we get to map 4 tonight, then we'll see Sand River again. I'd definitely like to see two more teams play at it that are a little bit more equally matched, because arguably the last match was a little bit lopsided. However, overall, looking at it, I think the map picks, personally, I think they tend to favor 07. I think they're better city tank brawlers, especially in the past. They've showed what they can do on Himmelsdorf. They've had some really crazy strats. And 07 seemed to be the type of team that can tactically set up very well and execute those quick plays with the light tanks or the medium tanks and be aggressive.
I see where you're coming from as well. And then, of course, we're going to have to see how TDs come back into the mix. I think, like you said, I'm going to bring back that Foch. I think that's going to be the killer here. I think if that combined with some strong medium bat chat play, bat chat, of course, I call out individually because it's kind of different. It's scouty enough.
Yep.
And we'll see if that works because that'll be what I'm watching for. Also, with the 5As that we saw earlier out of Elevate, I think you can get by as Dare with those bully strats. Bring in a 5As, a few scouts, go at the enemy.
Try to do what Elevate did. Be aggressive, dictate the tempo, and try to throw your opponent off and see if you can disrupt the strats out of 07 because they like to rely on those set plays. They're very strong set plays typically, but if you can kind of throw them off, make them start second guessing themselves, that's where you can try to get into those fights.
Or kind of obscure their visibility on what weaknesses or where the actual answers are. You try and throw them off, shift positions enough. Maybe they'll jump onto the wrong thing and maybe walk into a crossfire. Maybe you'll catch the right guy out. That's what you're going for. You're just going to try and trick them, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Be one step ahead.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the scouting is going to come into play here for Dare Rising. They lost Chase Potato, who was typically their scout tank last season a lot.
Which is in this match actually going to be very important. We'll have to see if they replace
especially on Mines and Proc. The scouts are tanks that are going to play vital parts in there, whether it's doing the climbs on the zero line or just getting the early intel. Because early intel can set up your team for success or failure for the rest of the game based upon what one tank does in the first 30 seconds. So it's an absolutely vital job that has to be done, and it has to be done correctly because it's the difference between losing a tank and spotting the whole other team and knowing exactly where they're going.
And spotting the whole other team and then instantly dying as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, no, nothing at all.
Especially on maps like Morvanka.
Yeah.
Never had that happen to you before, ever.
Nope.
Anyways, and then we're moving on.
I definitely did. It was embarrassing. I blanked out as a scout story as I was on a competitive match, just drove straight up the middle in Murrow for some reason and just didn't turn or anything.
Well, it was pre-attack defense days. That's back.
No, I actually just blanked out. That's what really happened. It's like you just start driving and you just get used to it and you're like, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Everything's here.
At that point, you go, well, I'm dead now.
Yeah,
it was nice knowing you guys.
It's when you know those too efficient of an approach because there's enough approaches on the map that if you're good enough, you can map out a way to drive that'll avoid getting spotted until a specific point, right?
Yep. At the opening, 10, 15 second, 20 second mark, which tanks can get to where, how fast. And if you've done all that math, you know exactly where you can sit to spot them and them not see you.
Or what
you spend a lot of time programming that out.
Yeah, usually the most useful aspect of that kind of prep and understanding what other tanks can potentially do is actually so that when you're spotted or you're taking fire and you don't see anything. That's just usually what it is.
Yeah, well, speaking of not seeing anything, we apparently won't be seeing Dare Rising as they'll join us by audio only for our interview. Actually, not corrected. We have picture?
Hey!
Yes, we do. Hey, Aggressor. Hey. Thank you for joining us. And Meadowhawk looking sharp as ever, rocking that nice 07 jersey. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good? That's all we get out of you?
Pretty good. I mean, I'd say you probably couldn't see Aggressor because his nose was blocking the camera, but that
oh boy,
might be a bit
brutal.
I give you that one, man. Every now and then you get a good one, dude. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I got to start the season off strong. It goes all downhill from here.
Yeah, I got you, man.
All right, Meadowhawk. Well, we're talking to you already. Roster changes. Me and Randall just talked about it a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through from your end why you guys made the changes and what you expect out of them?
Well, we knew we were facing Dare Rising first, so we had to outmatch them with number of Russians on our team. So Arklit got a bunch of his buddies together. We picked up FC Dynamo and Kolzoid. They've been good. I mean, it's great because Foster was concerned at the talent pool left in kind of NA, and it really gets even smaller once you get with Gold League experience. And so these guys both have Gold League experience over in RU. And so even though we're having a little communication issues, they know where to go and where to be and how to play their positions. So we don't have to micromanage them like we would someone who's new to the league.
Yep, absolutely. And then Aggressor, I talked to Dirge a little bit earlier, and he said that you guys think you've kind of solved your comm issues, moving some people around. Heard that you're going to be calling now as well. So kind of walk us through your offseason, because you also made a roster change as well.
Yes, we picked up Dark Ninja from AM60s, and he's basically going to fill a bad chat role for us. We got rid of Chase, and Dark Ninja's going to basically be playing that spot, and I'm going to be calling, and Putin's going to be playing what I was playing. He was going to be kind of like the solo independent player.
So everything's changed.
Everything changed, yeah.
Sweet.
But we've been doing pretty good in practice, so I'm looking forward to tonight.
Yep. So me and Randall were sitting here talking before you guys joined us about how sometimes just making a few little changes, no dramatic, whole rosters being swapped is a good thing. Do you think that just these subtle little changes of who's playing which position and one minor roster, well, I don't want to say call it Dark Ninja minor, but one roster change is relatively small compared to what some other teams have made. Do you feel that that's enough what you guys need to do to succeed?
I mean, it's all about team synergy in a way. So having the team together still, but in different positions, I think will help out a lot. But 07 picked up like 3 players and stuff. Like that's a lot of extra people that they have to learn how to play with in such a short period of time. We really didn't have to worry about that. We already knew what we were going to do and stuff. We just had to work on how to play a new spot now and then.
Right, fair enough. All right, Meadowhawk, just one last question for you, I guess, which is to address the same thing that Aggressor just brought up. 3 new people in your team. Do you guys feel that you already will have the synergy on match day 1, or do you think it's going to be a little bit rust?
It'll be a bit of a learning curve. Obviously, 07 has always kind of been a casual team that can compete. And because of that, we have a lot of people who need to leave because of work or school. I mean, we've had major issues out fighting fires in BC for the past 2 months. So he's literally just back this week. So he hasn't scrum at all. We lost Commodore to a master's degree. He's got to do his schooling. So that's why we swapped him out for one of the Russian guys. But the biggest thing right now, it's the play is there, but the biggest thing is communication. Because right now we have 4 people who speak Russian. Only 2 of those speak English. So we need to kind of foster calls, and then the translations have to go through Warband or Arclet as to what's going on. But it's getting smoother and smoother the more we scrim.
So is the team going to be learning Russian, or are the Russians going to be learning English?
Andy is already learning key phrases badly, but I think there's enough. A lot of the phrases are very similar and repetitive, and so everyone just learns them, and it comes second nature after a while, I think.
Do you have an example, maybe? A little lesson for us? Come on.
An example of Andy? No. I think the one he was pasteur or something like that. I don't know. Andy's choosing really weird words that he hears repeated on a frequent basis during scrims, and they're always like, they mean nothing really important, which is kind of funny.
All right.
Okay.
I think that about covers it. Meadowhawk, any final words for Aggressor?
Good luck and have fun. It's always the good matches between us, so it should be another good one.
All right, Aggressor, any final words?
Good luck, Meadowhawk. Let's see who wins, man.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the battlefield.
See you later.
I love having them on.
Oh, yeah. No, just the great banter back and forth.
Well, just the
answers.
2 of them. I love Aggressor. He's fun to hang out with. And then Meadow, too. Meadow is I could listen to him talk for hours.
Yeah, no, I went to a hockey game with him when he was out here for the grand finals, and you never stop laughing with that guy. It's just so many entertaining stories the whole time. Yeah. Just one of those guys you can just go sit at a pub with, for example, and just sit there and drink and laugh and have fun.
In scuba equipment?
Yeah, scuba equipment or whatever else he decides to show up in.
Yeah.
So we do have our first lineups coming in here in a second. Looks like they're still getting ready yet, though. The timer hasn't started.
Now, we're going to have... I think those are fake readies right there with that T92. There's no way you're bringing a T92, right? So we'll take a moment, wait for them. If I'm looking... Yeah, they haven't started the countdown.
Yeah, looks like production's ready to see some tanks blow up. They want to get things on their way.
Ready to go.
We're all ready, so looks like jumped the gun a little bit early there, but we'll be ready in just a second. But overall, though, let's predictions right now. Who's your money on scoreline? Let's hear it.
So right now I'm leaning towards Dare. Part of me feels like I could give 07 a chance, but if you had a gun to my head, Dare right now, because okay. I'm going to depend on consistency. Just instead of overhauling the team, you've decided to shift things up, as opposed to 07 really overhauling and making huge changes. I think that's going to give them a better start
right
the season.
So
What do you think?
Later in the season, maybe the second time they play, I'd definitely probably favor 07, depending on how the matches have gone before.
Maybe.
I think they have the right pieces in place, but not having a whole lot of practice before the season starts kind of sets some alarm bells off in my head.
So you're leaning towards Dare as well?
I think I still have to lean towards Dare, but I think it'll be close. I think like a 5-3 probably, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at a tiebreaker for this match. I also wouldn't be surprised with actually a little back and forth and then just kind of finishing it out. I think that might be where we get it. A little back and forth on Mines. Mines makes sense for me. Defenders win 1-1. We go on to Proc. Proc is where we might see this start to break away, because then we have Cliff and Sin River after that. But I'm feeling like 1-1, 1-1, and then the winner.
Yeah, Cliff is a map that 07 struggled on last season as well. They tried running some set plays they'd seen from other regions. They didn't really pan out as well. So that may be a bit of a weak spot. And then Sand River, no one knows. However, these are the real lineups. We are ready to get underway on to Mines. 2 Mice, an E5, a 5A, 2 Batchats, and Milo Putin's going to play the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. Meanwhile, 07 coming in here with 2 Mice, a 5A, a Batchat, 2 E4s, and Fosta going to pick up that T100. So we will see the Russian imports, as you will, for the first time this season. We'll have to see how they perform. Dark Ninja stepping into the lineup for Dare for the first time as well.
All right, this will be good to watch for. This is what we want. Lineups like this, but the mouse on Mines is going to be going probably the center somewhere, right?
I would expect just below the hill for the defending team, and as the attacking side, either onto the 2-cap or to guard the hill entrance.
Yep. And then we'll see what the scouts are going to do probably on the openers here. Colosoid in that Batchat is actually heading... Okay, here's an aggressive little run he's on. He's going to be moving out towards Gulf 4.
Yep, and Milo Putin, 1, 2, 3, getting aggressive here. He's going to find the shots on the Fosta, maybe? I can't tell if he spotted him or not.
Probably not. Probably not.
He's trying. Neither of them have spotted each other, and Fosta's going to get out there to the H1 spot. So he'll have that early intel down the 1 line. But that's about all he'll really be able to get vision on.
Yeah, on the 07 side, they know there's a Batchat on the hill, and they know there's a WZ-111 5A.
Fosta needs to be careful there.
Yeah. Well, it's very easy in the T100 to accidentally flip yourself, I've noticed.
It's a very light tank. I mean, it's a light tank in many senses of the word.
Yeah, the power-to-weight ratio is such that you can kind of fling yourself up on stuff, and it's nice for getting over certain cover, because there's rocks and little mounds that normally you wouldn't be able to just kind of go over, that the T100 can.
But you can also get yourself into trouble with that very thing.
Exactly, and I have gotten myself into trouble a little bit.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, you're right. Anyone who's played the T100 knows what I'm talking about.
Anyone that's played any light tank with the new physics in the last year has gotten themselves into trouble at one point, guaranteed.
Fair enough. All right, Fosta's going to get into a passive position. A little risky, but out in the open. See him hiding in a bush. And he's going to knock a trio. That's dangerous, actually. He'll hide. And this will probably be where he hides for the next few minutes. In the meantime, what is Dare doing, Rox? What is Dare going for?
They're just feeling out their opponent right now. They've kind of spread out a little bit. They're trying to get some intel without bleeding too much HP. That's why they have Milo Putin just sitting here on the 1 line and the Batchat on the hill, and a great shot there. And a decent roll, too, out of 1, 2, 3. 385, not bad at all.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for. A little blind fire going to cover onto 1, 2, 3's position. And this is going to slow down for a minute. So let's take a moment and kind of explore some of this lineup. Oh, actually, no. Here's something to look for. Look where Aggressor's going. Out into the northeast. He's going to be heading into a position that we usually don't expect a mouse to be in, which is more towards the middle, somewhere where his speed isn't going to kind of get in the way as much. Because Aggressor, where he is, if there were, for example, a push in the middle of the map right now, he would actually not be able to join his team in support for quite some time.
Yeah,
and that's why
he hasn't been spotted yet. So now the thing is, they don't really have to worry about that too much out of 07 because this strat isn't set up to make one of those flexes. It's not set up to capitalize on a tank being out of position. It's set up to hold the angles they want to hold. And right now, he's not in an area where they're too overly concerned with. If he keeps driving forward, though, that may be a different story.
That could be what he's going for. A bit of a distraction. Maybe kind of throw something out there so your opponent will...
Nationwide just being abused right now. He's down to 455. Bounces 1. The mouse armor's still holding up there.
He really needs to survive as long as he can in this position. And I'm seeing how we can expect Aggressors... push to actually turn into something, because right now everyone's distracted looking at Nationwide. Those shots fired are shots not being fired, or attention not being put towards Aggressor. Aggressor lining up a shot in Arclet. 584.
Yep, he's going to start bullying this side. They're going to try to start breaking this defense from multiple different angles. However, Harmless does get taken down by Fosta. So Tank Destroyers E4 getting their shots in there, doing what they're supposed to, knocking down that Bat Chat as Andy Pans does finally find the kill onto Nationwide.
There we go. At the same time, looks like the 1-2-3 light tank from Dare is up in the hills. We'll see what he gets to in a few minutes. But right now, Aggressor's finally made his way right into the faces of 07. 07 relatively healthy right now, but they are up a gun, and we'll see what they end up doing there. Rocks.
Yep, and Ninja's sitting here behind the rock. This E4 trying to find a shot onto him. And now he has to back off, though, because 1-2-3 has the opening angles.
Yeah, not quite, though. Just not quite. And it's dangerous for him to try and make that engagement. But right now, it looks like there's going to be a Colosoid and Arclet moving on Aggressor right now. They recognize he is not super well supported, and he should be a target they can take down. Look at that. He is down to 512. 2 more solid penetrations should take care of him. 1 more, that's it. 3 tanks down for Dare, no tanks down for 07 in battle number 1.
And this defense, well, I'm not a big fan of passive defenses. 07 sticking to their guns here, making Dare pay, and just capitalizing on every little mistake as Dark Ninja does finally go down to Warbandor in that mouse.
Yep. The remaining tanks for the side of Dare are on the hill. Well, a hill, somewhere. There are 2 hills that they're upon. Bird and his little battle buddy, where is he? Durgel. 2 of them are on top of the middle hill. 1-2-3 still up top where we left him a while ago. And this is a matter of time, Rox. There's usually not much left to do.
No, at this point, it's just Dare figuring out what went wrong and what they're going to do on the next round. You have to think, because there's not a whole lot of options that 3 tanks can do against 7 relatively healthy tanks, with Arclet being the least healthy. It's still over 1,000 HP, so
yeah.
No, nice shot there onto Warbandor, so chipping away a little bit. I mean, still trying to get some damage off. Yeah. Farm those fantasy points.
I'm looking at a thin shot from FC Dynamo, looking towards Bird, the side of that Empire State hatch that you can see. Oh, right over the top.
Right over the top. Not quite yet.
It's a very thin shot. It's very hard to make from this distance.
Yeah, but that's why you put a tank like the E4 there, because if you do land that shot at 750 alpha just straight into the side of that turret, that is going to hurt.
Absolutely. Now, the defense of the hill, the last hold of Dare for 4 minutes against 7 tanks. Now, if you were to entertain winning with 3 tanks here, Rox, you'd be looking at a Team 125 and a 5A, somehow taking down tanks around 1K, 2K hit points.
It would need a misplay by 07 for there to be any option. They'd have to find some sort of overmatch.
Who's the closest to the entrance to the hill on the side of 07 there?
Right there, it's going to be their Bat Chats, and that's going to be Colosoid, Fosta. Well, Fosta's about over on the 1 line, but it looks like it's going to be Colosoid and their mice of Andy Pans and Warbandor.
And look at this. This is actually excellent play from 1-2-3.
And a fire is going to claim Makos.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, I said that would be take some misplay out of 07, but also some luck on the side of Dare couldn't hurt.
Hey, that's maybe even a little more than luck. That was quite well played. He timed everything correctly. He waited for his shots to 0. He fired and immediately backed off. He didn't wait to see if it was going to connect.
Yep. Now the one thing this Panzerwagen,
he's covering. He's got great cover on the entrance to the hill.
Yep. Now this Panzerwagen, what it does have is it has great gun depression, so it can play those ridges like this climb right here, something that the T100 will struggle to do. And they're going to leave the hill, and they're going to try to go get on cap. So they're going to try to get 2 tanks on cap. Snaps the shot off at Arclet, doesn't get the connection, and they're going to try to use 1-2-3 up on the hill to cover, or up on the climb on the 0 line to cover the hill. However, Durgel takes a shot for his troubles. He's trying to close to the other side, and I have a feeling he's about to get hit by an E4 here in just a second.
Oh, right in the engine deck as well. That's not going to be fun. Just turn around, Durgel. Just turn it around. Oh, and the shot will miss from an E4.
Yep, so looking for the shot, wasn't able to quite find it. They will start the cap pressure. Now, they do have technically enough time to cap. With 1 on right now, minute 35. He's going to go ahead and back off to not take the damage.
Won't matter much, as he will take the damage anyway and lose all of his cap points. It prevents defense points, I guess you could say.
And the Bat Chats took the hill, and we're ready for 1-2-3 to poke up there. They put some shells into him, putting him down to a one-shot, and the Mice are going to push into Cap. Colsoid's going to come in from the back. Warbander's going to pick up the kill onto Bird. And Colsoid should be able to clean up this 5A here in the bat chat. Bounces one. Penetrating shot coming in from behind, and Andypants picks up the kill. And it's going to be all down to 1, 2, 3 up on the hill in this Panzerwagen, trying to find the shot on the Fosta. And Colsoid trades it out, picks it up. And that's going to be 1-0 in favor of 7.
Not bad.
Remember what I said, though. 07, their strength, set plays.
Yep.
In this case, passive defense, all the angles held, well rehearsed, knew exactly who had to cover who. And Dare just weren't able to find any sort of isolations, try to get some free damage. They couldn't really gain anything map positionally that was to their benefit. And 07 doing what they needed to do there. And looking at the damage there, Colsoid going up big.
Absolutely. I think one of the major things to pay attention to was probably those Mice nationwide. Going down, taking so much damage early in the game. That's not what you needed to happen on Dare's side. Dare needed him alive and healthy for their initial push. And when Aggressor went in, Aggressor was making a move that felt individually quite strong as far as posturing goes, a quite strong play. Just wasn't enough to really keep his battle buddy alive. And without that mouse, without that huge chunk of armor and hit points, there was a lot of advantage lost.
Yep, and Colsoid showing up big in his first game in North America, doing 81 fantasy points. Arclit coming up strong, even though he just got back from vacation. And 1, 2, 3 doing what he's always done, which is put up good, consistent damage. Now, also you have to remember, well, he's playing the Panzerwagen. Well, it picks up the speed. It does have pretty good gun depression. It does not exactly have the highest alpha or the best penetration, so it could be difficult for him to put up some of the numbers that we're used to seeing him play if he's playing that Panzerwagen.
But remember the tier 10 increase. Now that we're up to 770, you're going to see a slight increase in damage as we across the
larger HP pools.
Exactly.
Yep, definitely. And looking at it overall, you have to wonder what 07 are going to be able to do on offense, though, because that was a set play that worked very well on defense, but now they have to find a way to attack, and Dare have always been a relatively strong team on defense as well. They've had some Mines defenses that have been very strong in the past, especially during the North American Finals. Yep. They had a few games on defense where they looked very, very strong on Mines.
Yeah, and, well, altogether, defense on the side of Mines is the way to go. It's a strong position. The strategy hasn't changed much in the past 4 years, I think is about. So really it's the attacker strategy.
The map hasn't been changed too much outside of some little boosts. And looking at the lineups, you see what I've seen. PZ7 coming out here from Bird.
What?
I like the tank overall. I'm kind of curious to how they're going to implement it here. It is a tank that armor profile is rather tricky. Good frontal armor. Turret's very strong. It's underneath the turret on the sides where you want to hit it in the turret ring. That can be kind of soft. Two Mice.
Rear-mounted turret's also fun.
Rear-mounted turret can be beneficial, so we'll have to keep an eye on him, see what he does with it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 07 coming in here with a mouse, 2 5As, 2 E4s, and 2 bat chats. And it looks like they're going to open up with a pretty strong play towards both the hill and the one line, try to get some intel. While the rest of them looks like they're just going to sit in base and try to maybe get some damage on the hill. No, they're going to go towards the hill, so we'll have to see if they maybe try to open up on anyone peeking out, but they're not going to find it because Dare are just chilling passive right now. They have a light tank out on that one line, just like we saw out of Fosta. That's going to be Dark Ninja, though, and FC Dynamo opposite of him in the bat chat.
So what's the play right now for 07? What are they? They're just going to slow play this one, get the heavies up into position, and try and wiggle their way in?
That's basically what they have to do. I mean, good damage there from FC Dynamo, and maybe Warbander will sneak a shot in. He tried, missed. Oh, it was FC Dynamo trying to follow-up shot onto Harmless.
Ooh, he takes 324, though, so a little damage traded on the west side of the map. Not a huge difference, though, and look at that crossfire. Nice shell from Colsoid up on the hill. Might be able to get a second connection if he's careful enough.
Yep, now that PZ7 does have a pretty decent gun on it. It has that 590 alpha damage gun, just like the Jag Tiger. So it does hit kind of hard, fairly accurate, good penetration. Not the highest DPM, but it does decent. So the combination of being a very defensive tank and that gun may be the reason why they brought it. They can sit it behind a rock. Also, very high profile. If you look at the position he's playing,
that's what I was thinking as well.
Being able to shoot over the rock and just use his turret, also a benefit there.
Yep, that's what you're going to be looking for, because the height of a tank is very important at tier 10. now that we have that choice, you're probably going to choose some tanks based on the position you're expecting them to go to. And, well, if it's cover that isn't very tall, you might choose a mouse or the PZ7 and try and sneak that up there. Now, we're following Colosoid on the far side. What do you think? Is he going to try and go for a jump, or is he just maybe scouting a little?
I think he's just trying to get some intel. If he was going to go for that boost right then, he would have kept his momentum up when he hit it. Now, it doesn't mean that he won't back off and re-pick up speed and go, but I don't think he can make it from here from a standstill. So I think he's just trying to get some intel. He's going to creep forward a little bit, move up to another bush, see if he can get some eyes on these tanks.
Perhaps, but he's not going to find much, because if you look at the mini-map, you'll notice that tanks from the side of Dare aren't very aggressively positioned. And with that, well, it's going to be 07 not quite getting all that close to their opponent. Look at where the T110 E4
one of the slowest flexes in history. E4 is pushing down the one line right now, almost as slow as the mouse push we saw famously out of Tornado Energy during the Grand Finals.
Right across the open water?
Yep.
Literally some of the slowest terrain in the game that they could possibly cross.
I think that has to be up there with Wallhack's T95 push last season.
I was going to say that next. Just about as slow.
And Dark Ninja gets caught out.
443. He decides, well, that might not have been the smartest thing to do. But looking at his POV, he only spotted one tank.
But he took damage from multiple, so he should know that there are more there, even if he didn't spot them.
Yeah, and we should be seeing a little bit of a shift right now, but there's not much to shift from Dare. Those E4s can't move too much. The PZ7 won't need to move too much. And the mouse all the way over there in the east.
Now, remember what I said about set plays?
Yeah.
This is one of them coming out here right now. The mouse, very, very big tank, and look at what's behind him. A tank that is not very, very big, the 5A, a very low-profile tank. So what can you not do without artillery? Find an easy reset on that 5A, and they're positioning themselves just ever so perfectly, so he's blocking him. Meanwhile, the E4 takes a shot for Dare.
They weren't spotted until literally right now, just right then. The mouse and the 5A got on cap without being spotted.
Yep, and Warbander knows he's going to die. They don't care. He's just sitting there, and oof, Bird in that PZ7 finds a great shot there onto the side armor of Arclit, trying to reposition here, and they're just going to make Warbander go to a little even more extreme angle. But I don't think they counted on that PZ7, and here comes a reset out of Dark Ninja in that T100.
Yeah, he's got a great alternate angle right now. It's going to be very difficult for Arclit to find a safe place to hide. Then think about the bat chat as well. 2 tanks out on the west side that are going to be able to put a crossfire on. 07's going to have to decide to really commit and create a little bit more havoc with this. Like, they need to actually have more violence of aggression. They need to get in there, put more tanks in the way of this cap, and make something happen. Because look at the mini-map right now. I'm looking at the perspective of Dare. They see 2 tanks. They see a mouse, they see a 5A. Those are the 2 tanks on cap. That's what they're focusing on. They're not shooting at other stuff right now.
Here's the problem, is to make a set play like this work, you have to have certain conditions that are met for sure. And one of those needs to be that Arclight doesn't get reset. You can give up Warbander for free in this sort of strat. You could say, I don't care if you die, I just need your body there so we can use it as cover. But the problem is that Arclit, no matter where Warbander sits, has been reset time after time after time. He's down to 516, so even with Warbander dead now, I don't know that they're going to be able to get the cap pressure they need over the next 4 minutes to make this strat work.
I don't think this works at all in the end, because there's no real presence from 07 on the map. Like, there's a bat chat all the way in Alpha 5 right now. There's a WZ all the way over in Charlie 4. You need someone to watch your back, but there's almost no presence felt.
And the reset comes in, and now the cap's reset again, and there's 4 minutes left in the round.
Yeah, and that's going to be the mouses going up into the high ground above the cap. They're going to even have better positions to support now. And that's my only real complaint about this 07 strat, is I don't think it has quite enough aggression elsewhere to split the defenders' attention. The defenders are good enough that they're going to be able to defend against this. They're going to find the resets they want to.
Yep, and this is just overall a great play out of, or great tank choice out of Bird. Just that PZ7 is so hard to hit. Andy Pans has been rifling off shots for the last several minutes at him. But that PZ7, because it's so tall, its turret just backs behind the rock. He has all the reset shots he wants, and he's taking almost no damage for it. So, you know, this is just one of those things where it's just doing your homework, knowing what angles. And T100 gets another reset there. Great stuff from Dark Ninja.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want. Dare's handling this very, very well. 07 could do with some slight alterations or changes to the strategy. I see what they're going for, though. This is something that can work later. Andy Pan's going down. That's harmless in the bat chat. And there we go. Arclet's down. That's going to be 4 tanks alive for 07 to the full roster of Dare. So nicely played. Very nicely played from Dare.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was just Dare showed they did their homework. They brought the right tanks to play the strat the way they wanted. They understood this is what some teams will do. This is how we counter it. They very clearly understood all the reset angles. Maybe a little bit of that is 07 maybe not being as prepared as they thought they were. Maybe they haven't scrimmed a lot yet, so they haven't seen teams try to counter that strat. And overall, it was great stuff from Dare to hold on here and tie it up 1-1. Which should be in just a minute anyways.
Yeah, it should be. Assuming there's no catastrophic failures or something. But, ooh, Mako's down 1306.
Thick mouse armor, bouncing shot after shot.
That's what it does. There we go. Makos is down. Now Fosta, FC Dynamo will finish it off. Fosta's been holding his position up in the north. Yeah, this is one of the ones where I was a little bit skeptical. There's a weak point when you're attacking the western cap where you need to defend your northern side. But the risk is, of course, if you defend your northern side with enough tanks, you're taking in too many away from your front.
You're giving an overmatch in the south for them to pick on. And that's something that's so strong about that Dare setup is there is no reason for them to have to push north. There is absolutely no reason for them to deflex if they can defend everything from right there. So that's why they didn't overextend, and that's why they have a slow lineup, because they know they can just sit there and hold it. If you can guarantee that you can get those resets and that you know for sure they cannot cap, then you can just sit there. There's no reason for you to move. You don't have to. So you don't need to take the north.
Yeah.
Now,
of course, you're not going to waste time if you're a good team. You're going to understand where you can capitalize upon those little advantages you have. And that's going to separate you from the teams that are still trying to make their way to gold. But the whole point of that is just, look, if you see your advantages, you understand what that results in, yeah, you can sit back and defend. In this case, of course, Dare eventually saw that 07 didn't have much of a presence at all on the higher ground and just kind of took it. It was there for them to take.
It was there for them to take safely. They knew they had killed tanks at that point. They knew they were up HP. So why not take the hill for a little bit of positional advantage? And then the north here was more just to get the kills than actually needing to take the north as defensive side.
Yep. And now, looking at the
post-battle Ninja.
Stats. Yeah.
Look at all that damage he put up.
That is a strong position he was in. And don't underestimate the T100 because it is a tier 10 light. There have been tier 7 and 6 light tanks that would have been able to put up that damage a while back. But of course, it's that much harder now. And he just shows that, yeah, in the right hands, this tank is dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And the PZ7 there coming in there with a strong 2,800 damage as well. Managed to get a few resets, so 76 fantasy points is very respectable. And one other thing to note, we didn't mention earlier, T100 did get a slight buff in the last patch, did get some extra ammo capacity. So that was a problem that some people were running into, was not enough shells. It's only carried, I believe, 32 or 36. So
that's all I needed.
So it got bumped up. Well, when you're sitting there in a position like Dark Ninja, where you need to rifle off shot after shot, sometimes that's not enough. And so it did receive a few extra shells in the ready rack, ready to go.
It's always worth it. Also, just so you know, as long as you have one shell in your ammo rack, you can be ammo rack during a match.
Yep, we've talked about that before. There's been strats with CDCs, for example, where they used them as moving cover in the past. And one team had it blow up on them when they were trying to get it in position. And so what they did next time was they brought no ammo in the CDC. So he pushed in there and you didn't get ammo racked, but guess what? They ended up not going for the cap. A brawl broke out, and all of a sudden the CDC was still alive with, couldn't do anything. So he was trying to ram people and get in the way, but if you don't bring any ammo, you can't shoot.
Yeah,
it's kind of a problem.
It's always the hilarious part, but it's something to watch out for. Not so much anymore. You're probably going to bring ammo all the time, but we'll miss those good old days as we head in to Prohorovka. Now, with Proc, looking at these lineups, we've got 3 5As, 3 bat chats, and a T100 LT for the side of Dare. For 07, they're going to have those 2 IS-7s, 3 bat chats, and 2 Sturv Bs.
Sturvs, once again, I keep harping on it because 07, but set plays. What do Sturvs tell me? That they're not planning on being very flexible. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because those 2 Sturvs have the highest DPM in the game, laser accurate, high camo. Definitely a strong tank in the right position. However, it is 07 on defense, so they don't necessarily need to move a whole lot. However, this map, unlike Mines, you can't defend both caps from one place. Well, you can, but
you can and you can't.
It's in the open, and you're bound to get picked off and bleed a lot of damage, and it's not going to go well for you if you try it.
Yeah, you can and you can't. Because if you can, it's going to hurt. If you can't, well, you're probably actually in stronger positions.
And we may actually see a brawl breakout here as the 3 Bat Chats. Fro7 going towards the hill are going to be met by the 3 Bat Chats of Dare Rising, and Fox is going to get caught out. He's going to start taking damage. Harmless is going to take some trades as well. Shots going back and forth right now. A few shots even going into the dirt. Mile Putin being focused out. Down to 683. Kolstoid getting a few shots in there as well. And this is not going good for Dare Rising. Damage is just coming out here.
That's
even the Sturv's getting into the fight from the back there, and
Dark Ninja and 123 are down. That hurts a lot. That's devastating for Dare.
The proverbial door was just slammed in the face of Dare.
Yeah.
07 said, you want to take the left side? You want to take the 0 line?
Come and take the 0 line.
That's
Come
too
and take
bad.
the 0 line. I dare you.
I dare you.
Yeah, it was a gimme. And there we go. High ground for 3 Bat Chats. This is beautiful. If you're 07, you're loving this position right now. Dynamo.
Durzo getting farmed, taking shot after shot.
And there we go. That's going to be devastating. Absolutely. I would not want to hear what their comms are right now. They're probably a mess. 07's probably just sitting there laughing. There we go. Aggressor taking a hit. 569, leaving him at a sliver of health, 20. And I'm actually wondering why 07 isn't getting more aggressive. It's like I would want to see them actually pushing forward, but I guess if you don't want to. There we go. FC Dynamo's got a kill shot. And then on top, we've got Dynamo and Fosta. Aggressor looks like he's going to be backing off, and, well, where's Aggressor going? Aggressor's running away, Rox. He's all the way in.
There are not really any options at this point. 07's just going to get chased down, and to be fair, 07 don't really even need to chase at this point. Aggressor's down to pennies, essentially, 20 HP. Bird's going to start taking some damage in the 5A.
He's in the low grounds. The Sturvs are on the move. They're coming on in. They're getting ready to get some kills.
A great shot there from Arclit in the I7 to take down Aggressor.
All Colosoid style points. Jumping down a hill.
And Dynamo trying to go for the Goomba. And he gets the shot on the jump. And Fosta takes out Dynamo. Not sure if that was friendly banter or not, but either way, the result's still the same. 07 pick up a round, and 07 looking very strong right now.
Yeah, that's not bad. I like it. I liked the defense. It was a solid brawl on their side. I really thought Dare was going to come out ahead in the initial fight, but once the Sturvs got set up, I think that was what probably changed it.
Yeah, the Sturvs got the shots in, and the Bat Chats were just landing more shots. The way that terrain worked out, it just was kind of hard for the tanks of Dare to land those shots on the Bat Chats. I saw several shots go into the dirt, and then when they tried to run, just a shooting gallery, and then these 5As left here in the low ground, not a whole lot they could do. And just overall, not a great round. Kolsoid, though, he is putting up some serious points tonight. If you picked him up on your fantasy team, you were having one heck of a night. And looking down from there, Warbander did decent. FC Dynamo, respectable, 91 points, 2 kills on top of the 2,500 damage. Harmless and Aggressor in the Bat Chats, both getting off a little under 1 clip.
And Dark Ninja, bless his heart, got completely evaporated early on. Didn't stand a chance. Poor guy.
Yep.
It's like he puts up insane damage the previous battle, but then unfortunately one unfortunate run, and you're just gonna blow up. Only 2 points for him.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. So just unfortunate, but sometimes that's just how the dice fall.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And now we're gonna switch sides. It's gonna be 07's chance to attack and Dare's chance to defend. We'll have to see how their lineups, their opening moves will result in. If it'll result in the same thing, more likely what'll happen is what we usually get on proc, which is where both teams decide on slightly
slower, more calculated play, not pushing blindly into an area where you don't guaranteed have the overmatch.
Yeah, also it seems like with a 50-50 shot of choosing an all-in that meets face-to-face, they just actually usually just choose the opposite sides and happen to miss each other. More often than not, they just don't run into each other in the opening games.
Yep. Dare Rising, 2 5As, 2 Batchats, 2 103Bs, and a T100 Light Tank once again played by Dark Ninja. Meanwhile, 07 and IS7, a 5A, 3 Batchats, and 2 103Bs of their own. So not opting to bring a Light Tank, instead just bringing another Batchat. So other than that, very similar lineup out of both teams.
Yeah, not bad.
IS7 arguably interchangeable with the WZ after last patch. Same alpha. IS7 on the last patch got an extra horsepower buff, a little bit of a gun dispersion buff, and an extra couple hundred HP. So tank got a little bit of love, and it seems to be pretty decent now. Tank that kind of got faded out for a while. Its strong point used to just be hold downs. Now it can be a little bit more flexible and interchangeable with the Chinese heavy tanks, which have pretty much dominated since the mouse has started to lose favor.
Yeah, speed's important, and every once in a while, everyone remembers why it's so important, and then starts playing aggressive strats and bringing a lot of those Russian and Chinese heavy tanks, because you just use them to break on through the other side. That's what you do. FC Dynamo taking a hit for 380. What was that?
I think that was the Batchat over on C2 for Dare. Was set up there with an early shot.
Nicely done. Look at this. We're going to have the IS7 5A versus 2 5As in the middle. It's going to be a very tricky fight, but altogether we're going to see heavies just kind of throw stones at each other over a fence. They're just going to be angry neighbors for a while, doing very passive-aggressive little things to each other just to mess with the other guy.
Leaving angry notes for one another.
Yeah, you know, reporting them to the homeowners association.
Having their grass too long.
Yeah, every time. And those tacky flamingos.
Somehow I don't see anyone from 07 having a tacky flamingo on their front lawn.
You're telling me that Meadowhawk doesn't have a tacky flamingo with a Canadian flag on it?
I can't put money on that, so maybe you're right. Meanwhile, Bird looking for some shots here, and pretty much status quo from both teams, just trying to feel each other out. Batchat's flexing around in the backfield, trying to get some intel. Trying to be a little bit more calculated with their play this time. Last game, they both kind of blindly pushed, didn't happen to blindly push into each other, and it was just 07 that managed to come out on top. This time, both teams realizing they don't want to take that gamble. Let's slow it down and make sure no one goes down for free.
Absolutely, that's what you're going for. Now, I want to jump to a slightly different subject on the map right now, and that's Dark Ninja hiding on the one line right now. You see 2 Batchats in the very, very far south. We'll zoom in so you can look at them. That's them, way, way over there. It's very far away, you see, because we're here. Dark Ninja's going to be waiting to see if Batchats push up. Behind him, he's got a little cover. And so this is where I think the next major move is going to happen, don't you, Rox?
Yep, and notice the position of Dark Ninja's tank. He's actually already facing the other way, so he's ready to just turn and run. Something that you see a lot of scouts make that mistakes, whether it's in pub matches or clan wars or whatnot, where they get into a bush and leave the front of their tank facing their opponent, and it's just common reflex. Your frontal armor is your best armor.
But in a light tank, guys, once you get to tier 10, light tank drivers, you should know your armor is worthless. It's all about a random track shot.
Yep, you don't want to have to start your retreat by driving forward to turn around or going in reverse, which, despite the common myth, even in French tanks is not that fast.
Here it is. There it is. There's the push. And spotting will happen. Shots going out. Colosoid Andypan's taking damage. Andypan's down to half hit points now. And Dark Ninja is not spotted. Dark Ninja is going to move at about 100 meters so that he can keep some distance between him and his opponent as he fires and leaves, takes 1 shell, and is out. That is a well-executed scout run. Good job, buddy. Now, what is 07 going to do? They're going to die. This is a bucket where you die. That encapsulates the point.
Yeah, no, yeah. They're left with not a whole lot of too many options at this point. Sturb up on the high ground at G1 trying to cover and help them with those heavy tanks, but they've pretty much boxed themselves into this one line, and they haven't completed the push. They had to stall out between Andy's getting set on fire and the Batchats taking damage, and they haven't even found Durgel or Harmless yet, so they can't even sit here and know they have the one line for free because they're just going to get bled.
Correction, they have found Durgel. And they have found Harmless.
And now they have to try to kill him while he's sitting near and shooting at Fosta, which...
Valid point.
Which is not going to be easy to do in that Sturv. So here's the tricky thing about the current meta. With the...
but look at this. 103 versus 103. Andy Pence, sitting a little back in support position, might be able to take down Durgel. This could work.
Whichever one switches to HE first. They just need to switch to HE, get the kill.
No, they actually just need to hit each other. And now they're not spotting each other, so it's blind fire all day.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is with the Bat Chats here against the Sturf, what part of the problem is more recently with the mouse meta, for example, more Bat Chats have had to start bringing more heat shells to try to deal with the German armor. So when you bring more heat shells, what do heat shells not like? Spaced armor. What does the Sturf have?
Spaced armor!
It's not even just like spaced armor, but it is a literal heat shield on front. The Swedes went, yeah, I made the mistake.
You made the mistake.
Yep, only took me 6 months longer than you. Anyways.
Go on.
It is a shield on the front there. You can actually see it with the wiring across the front. It is made to block those heat shells. The heat shells, they detonate when they contact armor. And so when they hit this sort of fence right here, they detonate before they actually hit the actual armor of the tank. And that in turn makes the Sturf frontally a very imposing tank. Now, APCR shells will have an easier time getting through that and hitting the weak spots. But if those Bat Chats for some reason had heat shells left, or they'd only brought heat because they're so used to the mouse meta, which could have happened.
Reasonable.
Unlikely, but could have happened.
Yeah.
That would make it a lot harder to kill. And they did manage to get Durgel down, but it was at the cost of Fosta and about 7,000 HP, which now leaves them in a very tight situation with only 4 minutes left.
4 minutes left, no major control of either cap point. Dare holds on strong with 10,000 hit points. That's double the amount of 07. Never mind, sorry, more than double the amount of 07. Yeah, there's every reason Dare should be able to even this one up, and we'll have a back and forth for our first two matches, which is good. This is what I've expected out of Dare in 07. Good, solid play. Mistakes is a hard word to place on a lot of this. This is hard choices and strong defenses on a lot of sides. I think we give credit to Dare in the defense and also for the previous battle 07, as opposed to really harping on the choices of our attackers. There's a lot to say about that, but you have to decide on a strat, right? And in this play style, in this game mode, Rox, like, do you really have many opportunities to make incredibly flexible strategies? You really don't.
It depends on the lineup. Some of it comes down to your player skill, if you can make certain strats pay off. That's why we see some really creative stuff out of Elevate, because they have such a high amount of skill on that team. Now, not to discredit the other teams, but sometimes you need exceptional players to play exceptional positions and make some of these things really work.
It's that little difference player versus player where one guy's taking damage and the other isn't. That's what it is. It's your guy's peeking and dealing damage to him, or is he peeking and taking damage from the other guy. If he's not taking damage, fantastic. That's great. Let him do what he wants all day. You're right. And those specialty positions are where that's at.
And I really like this out of Dare here, is after they got those initial picks, they, outside of Durgel, they left the 1-2-3 line side of the map. They said, this is not worth fighting for at this point. We've already bled them a ton of HP, and we've bled down the clock. So they know they only have 3 or 4 minutes left, and so they've all backed off. They've gotten into a more defensive posture where they can cover each other. They've said, look, you guys can go get on cap, or you can try to come fight us, but either way, we're going to cover each other and not give you that opportunity to get into the match.
Absolutely. Now, as it'll slow down, 2 minutes 20 left. Usually this is a point at which 07 will make a strong push, as we can see now with Arclet going up middle, right towards the cap. He should pay a little bit just to take this position, but if Dare isn't feeling super aggressive, they might just let him hop on cap before they decide.
Andy Pans gets spotted, goes down to Aggressor.
Nice shot from Aggressor. We can always depend on him to sink a shot. And Harmless will be watching the north side. Arclet's going to be crucial to actually get any vision for 07 to use. To see where are they going. Okay, I see it. Bat Chat. You see Colosoid moving up north. He'll try and get Crossfire. Sneak a few shells in here or there. If he gets spotted, he'll go down though. He needs to stay hidden.
Yep, so at this point, Dare only really need one reset to make 07's life hard, and they're in positions well enough to do it. They actually haven't even spotted the Bat Chat of Harmless behind that rock over there.
That's good.
So he can very easily get the resets. And he's on full HP, so there's no way that 07 could even focus him out before he could even fire.
That's what you're looking for. And then Aggressor's position is perfect. He's going to be able to put fire on anybody he wants. Well, anybody who gets spotted. And how long do you think Dare's going to wait? They're probably going to wait until after the minute crosses before they put those cap point resets on.
Yeah, they got plenty of time. They're going to burn the clock down all the way, because what they don't want to happen is have this fight happen too early, give up a free tank, and leave an opening for 07 to get into that fight. They're going to bleed out the clock and make sure that it's towards the end of the round when there's no time for them to try to brawl it and get all the kills.
There's your reset right there. Nice job from the 5As. Peek on over.
And now they can't cap with 40 seconds left, and now 07's only option is try to go for all the kills. And while it's highly unlikely, they made sure to do everything textbook, bleed the clock down, so now there's no way, even if worse comes to worse, they could chase down every single tank.
Absolutely there. You see IS-7 trying to make it, not quite this time. And only remaining is, well, Colosoid. He's also going to go down. So there we go, evening this one up. Dare puts their own point on the board on defense. No one's won on attack yet. No one has won on attack.
Which makes sense with 07 being one of those teams, like I said, set plays. So once again, this comes down to a set play on offense that just didn't pan out. It was very slow, calculated, set up across the whole map. All right, we're going to put the Sturv with the bat jets behind. We're going to try to cover them and just make that decisive push. And that's, once again, one of those things that Arclit and 07 have become known for is, well, it's kind of predictable. It's bringing the right tanks, the right players, putting them in the right spots to cover each other. And if you do it well enough and with enough synergy, you can make those set plays work. And so far, we've already seen them work tonight a couple of times. This time was not, unfortunately, one of those.
Yeah, well, it'll happen. Let's take a look a little at kind of what happened in that match and break it down for you one more time. So opening up, we had T100 LT as the spotter. 07 goes for a bold push. This is out in the open. There's no real pre-spotting. You just have to risk it. The cost was very, very high for 07. They didn't get the spotting they needed until right at the end when they finally got a kill on Dersh. Opens up the northwest, where then 07 can begin aggressing on the cap. By that point, though, they've spent way too many hit points. They don't have enough left to work with, and Dare knows how to hold, and they do.
Yep, and looking at the fantasy points here, Durzel doing a good job putting up 90 fantasy points nationwide, and they're 72, Harmless 73. Overall, good damage, all in the 2 to 3K range. Warbander, top damage dealer, 407, only getting 37 fantasy points, though. 37 fantasy points. Colosoid coming in there, another 30 fantasy points himself, 1600 damage. Nothing too spectacular this game out of any of them, but Dark Ninja in that light tank putting up another 100 fantasy points, getting all those spots, because it's all spotting damage during that initial push.
Yeah.
So spotting becoming a little bit more relevant in Fantasy League.
I'm down for that. Spotting is very, very important, and it's often underestimated.
And assistance damage anyways.
Yeah.
So, something that some other stats don't necessarily look at too well because of how the game program's written. They can't always, see all the spotting damage. It's hard to separate tracking from spotting damage.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it kind of gets all jumbled together.
Yeah, that's one of the things. For a little while, actually, I believe damage blocked by armor, spotting, and all of that track
was mixed
stuff
in there, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, they've been separate. They've been mixed together at different points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And we're getting ready for battle number 5. I see a tank choice here, and I have to wonder. The Sheridan coming out from Milo Putin. I'm going to, let's see here. Am I near them right now?
Do you play with Sheridan? I actually...
He has the derp.
He has the derp
from the Sheridan. Coming in with 3 5As and 3 bat chats. Meanwhile, 07, a 5A, a whole lot of bat chats in a TVP. I'm going to jump over to Milo Putin right now. 1, 2, 3.
You're going to follow that because, okay. The Sheridan, really?
Yep.
Honestly, I wasn't... Look, okay, when the Sheridan came out, it was okay. I wasn't impressed by it when I got to play and test it. It's not that I thought it was bad. I just didn't think it had a strong place in competitive. But it's not.
But Randall.
What?
Derp.
Yeah, I know. Derp's cool.
It's hard.
Derping?
Yes. Lots of damage.
Yeah, but it's just it's a very RNG gun. Oh, nice shots. Look at that Burden aggressor with direct fire onto Makos as he tries to go up the kill. Now, here's a mistake, possibly, from Makos. He stops, and because of that, he's still in a place he's going to take fire, and he's going to go down to 344. Had he continued forward, there's the possibility, not absolute, and this is a risk, that he could have gone higher up and actually escaped outside of their range.
Sometimes the best way to get away is just forward, which in that case, he kind of panicked and started backing down. If he just kept driving, he might have gotten out of it.
It's like when you accidentally run a red light. If you hit the brakes in the middle of a intersection after running a red light, and you just stop, have you ever seen someone do that? You know how much chaos it causes? It's a mess.
It's how you cause a very bad accident.
Yeah, but then if you accidentally run a red light, and you just and you're already in there, and you're not hitting something, don't just go through. Let a cop pull you over and give you a ticket. That's what he should have done. Now Makos is Well, he scratches pain.
Yeah, just to clarify, we don't support running red light
No,
here
I'm
at the
just saying,
WGLNA.
like, this is like one of those, if you make a mistake when driving or like when you're doing something that important, sometimes there are situations wherein stopping, hesitating, drastically changing your pattern of behavior will actually work against you, is what I'm saying. It's the same thing where if you get shot when you're in the open and then you just stop and look around, you've seen people do that, right? And you might have maybe a while back made the same mistake where you take fire and you decide, oh, snap, who's looking at me? And you stop. Instead, you should keep going, find a safe position, follow your steps 1, 2, 3.
Any Pans and Harmless trading in the distance there as 1, 2, 3 does the climb and gets up on top of the hill. But Harmless is in a world of trouble right now. He's going to go down. He gets caught out there. Harmless making a great play. Warbander coming to support him, as is Colsoid. But this looks like it's going to be another trade. And the 1, 2, 3 gets one shot off for 350 onto that TVP.
And we're going to actually take a listen in with Dare, see what they're talking about as they make this push, and a little bit of
That's
pressure.
far. That's not spotted.
Just hold this. Just
No,
hold
there
this.
he is.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
there
die
you
to him.
Easy kill.
Okay, nice.
shot me once.
Shot
You
went
shot
low,
me.
my bad.
Going in on him.
Going in on Warband. Yeah.
Warbender shot
Full
1.
clip. Nice.
Warbender shot 2.
Mm.
You're good.
I'm gonna
you're good.
pressure this stuff in TVP.
I'm safe. I'm safe. Warbender shot 3.
WC.
I got a shot for this TV.
Yeah, trying to get out of your shot. I got kill.
No. I get 3 on cap for fucking BM.
That dude's savage.
Okay.
And here we are with Dare just cleaning it up. You can hear the attitude of Dare. They're very upbeat, kind of joking around with each other, feeling good right now.
Yeah, especially after a win like that. Yeah, that's going to feel good. You're on the attack. Cliff is a decent defender, Matt, and your strategy worked. Your opening moves got the damage you wanted, set your opponent off balance, took advantage. It's a good Dare play. Good play.
Just down to Arclet down here. Try and stay alive, but with 6 minutes left, it's not going to happen. And it looks like 1, 2, 3 is trying to close, maybe get a shot or a Goomba in, but Arclet's probably going to go down before that.
And where's the last shell coming?
Oh, but he snaps it off and misses. No derp.
Not today. 5A gets the kill.
Not today. And that is going to be Dare extending their lead to 3-2 over 07, taking the lead for the first time on the night.
Yay.
Not bad there out of Dare. I very clinical offense. I like to play around the backside, punished pretty much every mistake that 07 made, stuck some tanks in some weird places, ended up going down. They were down pretty much 3 bat chats before the end there, including Makos, who just, on that initial poke up the hill that we were talking about, just bled way too much HP. And the problem with running these passive defenses is if you're going to stay passive like that and give up ground, you better not bleed HP, because if you give the other team the opening and you let them start chipping away at your HP, they can just group up and push, which is ultimately what Dare did.
Yeah, pretty much. That sums it up. I think one of the things we're going to want to point at first is Aggressor, and I believe it was Bird. Correct me if I'm wrong. First shots into the opening scout. We loved seeing that one where it was, what was it? It was a bat chat. Makos. And this is the replay. Thank you, production. He heads on up towards the hill, and he just gets taken down too much damage. Now, let's just move past that a little bit and just look at how quickly everything went. 5 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock. I barely got to even digest what was happening, all those kills.
Yep, and Aggressor, 70 fantasy points, 3k damage just about. Meanwhile, Durgil, Bird, and Harmless all putting up pretty solid numbers. However, Bird only getting 36 fantasy points with the 2100 damage. So overall, it was just good stuff there from Dare. I like the play. I like the isolating the tanks. Once again, though, from 07, what we've been talking about, the set plays
and the Sheridan. Sorry, real quick, pause here. Sheridan, 1567. Not bad.
Not bad. Got some solid connections in there.
54 points.
Would have liked to see him poke up in the middle, maybe get a side shot on someone there, but another time. Well, actually, that another time is right now, because it looks like we're going to see it again as we go into battle number 6 of the series.
All right. Taking a look at the tank lineups, what are we going to see on the side of Dare?
We are going to see 5 bet chats, a 140 and an STRV. Meanwhile, 07 and 5A, 4 Batchats, TVP, and a Sheridan of their own.
All right, let's jump on over to that Sheridan. Fosta taking that. It's a pretty zippy little tank. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to play it, you can notice by on screen that it's keeping up with your Batchat, so if you're worried about that, not a problem. In fact, making nice ground. I believe it has a... It performs well on different terrains, is I guess the way to put it.
Yep, it's a very zippy little tank. It's just kind of large, is the biggest downside.
Yeah, and kind of looks like a rolling brick, or it looks like a third grade edition of what a child thinks of a tank. You know, they just draw a box with a little slopey front.
What it kind of reminds me is more of a modern APC kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And here we go. Sheridan's up top. Fosta looking at it nationwide. Fires. And he hits. No, he gets hit. He gets hit. Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't
Fosta
get
gets hit. Fosta fires. Fosta takes half his hit points of damage.
You need to be careful if he pokes again, because...
I got excited because I heard explosions. Sorry.
And I do like this play from Dare, as passive as it is. They have the 140 peeking the hill. They have tank down at B2, which can hold that crossfire along with that Sturv of Durgil. So overall, now they're just doing the climb to get some tanks up onto the hill. Harmless and Dark Ninja just climbing up here.
Both teams are competitive hit points with each other still. No real problems here. I think the Sheridan may need to be careful. Fosta can't take much more punishment. And he is the tank representing 07's control on the high ground. If he goes down, that is a lot of control that can go in the favor of Dare. Now, here's the thing. Dare is going to need to take the next few minutes and crawl up this hill like a bunch of ants. Oh no, Andy Pants, no! No, Andy Pants, he just... They're trying to save him. Like some kind of strange avian early life lessons. I don't know.
They got him up.
He's alive. He's alive. Okay. That could have been horrible. There we go.
Would have been an Alley the Persian Dude 2.0.
Oh. At least it wasn't an Apple Wow.
Or a wall hacks.
Yeah, that would have been work.
Meanwhile, just holding still.
You know, actually, what that did for Dare is that allowed Dare control. There's, if I'm just jumping around to a bunch of tanks right now, guys, but if you look, Colosoid's on the hill, yes, but Andy Pans and Fosta had to leave. And because of that, that was some control that 07 had lost. Now, Dare hasn't capitalized on that. That's the real kicker for that. There was an open.
Yeah, but tanks leaving the hill now, if they don't get spotted, they're probably going to move over towards the one line, try to open up that now that they have some tanks up on the hill.
And also because they've shown quite so many tanks in that area. It seems unbelievable that they would have Fosta leave the hill, and that they would have Anti-Vans, and that they would have everyone else leave. But because of that, they might be just improvising right here.
Yep, so if you look at it here, what 07 are trying to do is, now that they have the tanks on the hill, they have shots into this back area here. If they bring these tanks around and they open up play in this area, they can kind of leave them in this awkward area in the middle and try to focus them out. The biggest problem is that there's a group here and a group here. So that is an easy overmatch if Dare can find it. The problem is that they're so passive right now and they're so spread out, I don't know if they'll be able to react in time.
Yeah, but because of that passive play, that's where this doesn't work. But should Dare begin scouting, get aggressive, get that crucial eye on a target, they're set up just so they could take the hill. So they would take on Colosoid, Antipans, and FC Dynamo up on the hill. And those tanks are what you see now on your screen. That's Dark Ninja Nationwide right there. Hidden, unseen, waiting, ready to pounce. And if they do, that's what we're waiting for. Them to just jump up, take on Colosoid, or scare him off the mountain. Maybe take down Antipans. Antipans is a rather delicious target. He's got 697 hit points, meaning 2-3 shells, maybe. Like on a bad day, 3 shells.
And here comes that push that I was just talking about, up the one line. They're moving in there and they're getting punished. Mako's taking a few shots.
That means spotted. Yep. And that means Nationwide, Dark Ninja, and Harmless are going to start moving.
And Makos gets tracked. Is he going to go down? Is he going to get covered? He takes one more shot. Looks like he's going to just get into cover there, but that was a heavy toll to pay.
Yep, and with that, that's going to be control on top of the hill. Nationwide, Dark Ninja jump onto Colosoid, taking him down to 473. Dark Ninja chases up. Nationwide moving forward onto Antipans. A bird coming around the low side. Nicely played. That's going to put a shell in the back of FC Dynamo. Focus fire is a little tricky right now, but
140 getting shots in there, and this is what I was talking about, easy isolations. And Dare recognized the isolation on the hill. As soon as that push came out, they took advantage of it, and tanks are just dropping left, right, and center right now for 07.
There we go. And defense, FC Dynamo Colisade, all within 10 seconds are dead. Excellent execution from Dare. That's a play to watch out for. They saw the play on the other side of the map, they recognized the split, they immediately took advantage of it, and the entire unit played very well together.
I asked the question if they were going to be able to respond to that overmatch, and they just showed us right there. They were ready for it, so good job out of Dare. Did their homework, understood what they were looking at, and capitalized.
Well played. Very, very well played. That's a satisfying way for it to go, because if you were to just put that on paper, spell it out for someone, and exactly how and why each action was made, it's a very clear and easy to understand kind of a response. So newer players, take a look at this one. This is a round to watch, a round to review, as it were.
And now, after this round is over, it's going to be match point for Dare Rising, and we are going to move on to Sand River.
All right. I'm going to see Sand River for the second time tonight.
Yeah.
Very pleased with that.
Yeah, no, it's refreshing in many ways because, you know, these teams are still trying to figure out what they want to do, what works and what doesn't. As we saw, Teal Team 6 earlier figured out what doesn't work on this map. Now, versus some different teams that are in Elevate, what they were doing may have worked because other teams may have been a little bit more forgiving, but not versus Elevate. And if it's not versus Elevate, you probably don't want to run it to begin with. Even if it could work, it's probably still not the strongest of strats.
Yeah, let's put it like this. It's going to be difficult with Elevate. You know, if it wasn't... No, we're not going down the rabbit hole. I'm not going down the rabbit hole. We're not going to go into the hypothetical scenario. We're going to go ahead instead and look at some replays
Hypotheticals are fun,
of this
though.
past battle, because the replays are a little more informative for the ladies and gentlemen at home, because you guys got to see some really interesting stuff. We got to see some mountain goating. We got to see how to save an ally, and also how to flip your tank. We also saw an example by Dare, thank you so much, Dare, of how to properly respond to that west side attack. And that was take the hill, work as a squad. I cannot stress it enough.
Yep, and we actually have a timeout coming in here for 07, so I wanted to take a minute before they go on to Sand River to talk about their strats and kind of get things settled up. Aggressor, though, coming in big with the fantasy points. 106 fantasy points, 3,300 damage, 1 kill, 90% accuracy, not bad. Nationwide, also 1,400 damage with 100% accuracy, so not bad. Maybe a bounce shot in there, but a bounce still counts as an accurate shot. So overall, good stuff. And FC Dynamo, top damage for his team, but you saw how easily he got bullied on the hill there by Dare.
Yeah, but I don't think he had a choice. It was a result of the team's overall choices that he was bullied so hard. I really have to give props to Dare here. I feel like 07 played a strong and comprehensible strat, but Dare was very well prepared for it. And it's just good because this is a replay that you just throw out there and you say, look, everybody watch. You'll see exactly what's going on. You'll understand immediately.
Yep, and looking at it, you know, a couple players that have been playing pretty well tonight in 1, 2, 3 and Coldsoid, not getting into the fight in those bat chats that early. Got a little bit isolated. One got focused, so weren't really able to be that effective.
He was supposed to be in a flex position to kind of back up and give ground to kind of pull the enemy in. But what ended up happening was there wasn't really enough support there, and there were too many guns to deal with.
Right.
And because of that, Colosoid really didn't get to actually put his gun on a target, like actually aim at something. He spent the majority, I could say, of the fight trying to simply not flip his tank off a cliff. You know?
That's a little bit unfortunate.
And I guess the result is yes to what you said, but there's more details to give. Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So countdown has begun, so we are moving into what could be our final battle. It is 4-2 in favor of Dare. Now, Sand River.
What about it?
Do you think it favors the set play type of strats that we see out of 07?
No, don't do a set play on the Sand River. With a grain of salt, take that. Which is, you need to be relatively mobile. You need to understand how to play all of the dunes, because this is a very elevation-based map, a very gun depression-based map. It's those soft stats, the ones you don't always pay attention to, that are going to kill you on this map. And that's where we're going to see if they can take advantage.
Yep, and tank lineups coming in here. Kronvog and a Mouse, 2 5As, and 3 Bat Chats coming out for Dare Rising. 07, 2 IS7s, 2 5As, 3 Bat Chats. Nothing too surprising out of either team. Kronvagen, first time we're seeing it tonight, kind of disappeared towards the end of last season when the Mouse received the buffs that it got. especially because of the low penetration on the heat shells. Now, it does have heat, but they're around 300 penetration, so maybe not enough to consistently deal with those mouse turrets. However, when other teams bringing IS-7s and 5As and not mice, it definitely becomes a bit more relevant.
Yeah, of course. And now, well, opening moves. We're going to have to start with a little analysis of that. We've got Bat Chats heading south for the Scout, FC Dynamo up north, and the slow attack from 07. You're seeing those heavy tanks leave their cap from the north side. I have to say it. And what that's going to mean is, you see where Bird, Durgel are on your screen right now? These guys would normally peek up and be like, oh, hey, a bunch of heavy tanks are going southwest, or there are a bunch of them going, coming east to us. But because of this, an opening scout run is not going to find them. FC Dynamo, Warbandr, Makos, and Arclet out from the north are going to be relatively safe and unspotted. Unfortunately, that's where 123 comes in, formerly known as My Little Putin.
Yep, and now this is where the trouble starts for 07. The Bat Chat of 123 has spotted them in the north. So now these tanks can't really do a whole lot down here.
Well, they can. They just have to decide to do it. You know what I mean?
They
They can't
forward.
hesitate.
They have to understand they're going to pay the toll and pay it.
Yeah. You need to pay it once. You don't hesitate and pay it twice. Warbandr's going out alone right now. Makos and Arclet are not with him. I'm of the opinion that all three maybe should consider going forward together. But I can't pretend to know exactly what's going on with
So
07.
this if you look at the range, you look at the minimap, you can see the range that they're firing at right now. That's just on the edge of the spotting distance. So what I think they're trying to do right now is get Warbandr close to 123 so they can have him consistently spotted. They can have the guns in back, punish him, and make him back off. And then when they're not being spotted, then they can start creeping forward when they're not lit and don't have to worry about us taking much damage.
A little more bounding, as it were.
Yeah.
Move one guy up, he takes position, covers, you move up while being covered by him, and then he moves up again.
I believe the phrase you're looking for is leapfrog.
Bounding, sir.
Bounding, leapfrogging.
Yeah, same.
Either way.
They're synonymous. Yes. Everyone learns two words now. At this point, yeah, 07 stalled out. 07 really needed a little more with this, and they're going to have to find a way through. Breakthrough points right now are, if you're very, very clever, a Bat Chat from the south could play the mid-ridge. And by the mid-ridge, I mean that's the zone around Grid Square, Golf 6. If you play that, you could, if you know your terrain well enough in your bushes, you could possibly sneak in, actually all the way up to about Echo 0, or even Charlie 0, way in the backfield of your opponent, if you're very, very clever about it. The effect would, of course, be near suicide, but you'd really throw a wrench into Dare's perceived plan.
Yep, and now it looks like Warbandr and Arclet are getting ready to make some sort of play here in the north. Now, whether it's going to be up and across A7 or down across in the cap, either way, they're probably going to end up taking a few shots of damage, because there's no way for them to get by Durgel and Nationwide without being spotted and or being shot at, so definitely something to keep an eye on.
Definitely so. Now, if you're 07, do you think this is going to work?
I think this is a decent setup for 07 if they can make it back off, and Fosta's going to pull forward right now, start spotting them, and Arclet and Warbandr are going to try to trade it out right here as Fosta works that ridge.
Look at that, Mako's down 875. Incredibly low hit points right now. We're going to have to decide to jump over to him after we get away from Dark Ninja. Dark Ninja's going to actually back off, move around.
Now, what I do like about this setup here real quick is these guns are hull down in this area, so they can start focusing on this group here. And the Bat Chats from the deep angles preventing them from rotating around here, so they're forcing the head-to-head by design, and this could work out for 07.
Very well could. All right, we're going to head back over. Watch Makos squaring off against Dark Ninja. This position, quite scary for Makos because he's down hit points, and he's at a slightly lower elevation. Very close by, though, you can see Arclet and Warbandr are going to start trying to move up. Now, my question is, Bat Chats, what are you doing, and where are you going to start trying to be relevant? They're going to push in.
They could just dump the Kronwagen, and they're in position to push. Warbandr's pushing up. He's closing, and I expect these Bat Chats to just go up and over and dump their clips into these heavy tanks of Dare Rising. This could go south very quickly.
Well, they're actually going north, Rocks.
Yes, Randall, they are driving north.
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that the cardinal direction was north.
This could go very poorly for 07 or Dare very, very quickly.
Gotcha. All right. So, with Makos and Cold Sled on the backside of the hill, that's big tell. 07 now Dare now knows what's up. They can begin formulating their plan. I assume they're going to start moving their mouse into the high ground to cover. And with this, the strong defensive position of Dare is all but secured. Any major push at this point is completely no. And by that I mean Dare knows it's coming. Dare is preparing. If they're not preparing, that's their mistake.
Well, and just off camera, Dare is actually in the backfield up on the perch, so if some sort of push comes over onto these heavy tanks, there are multiple bad chats ready to punish, and we're going to see it right here. As they come up and over, Warbander gets focused out by Nationwide. Fosta comes over, finds a kill. FC Dynamo gets focused out. He's down to 102 HP. Fosta's going to push in, try to find the shot onto Nationwide. Gets it.
Fosta's going to regret that as he is taken down as well in an exchange for Nationwide. Just for being a little too aggressive. He could have held back a little bit and actually taken far less damage. I don't know if I necessarily call that a mistake. Maybe not everyone's on the same page. Don't know exactly how to explain that, but Fosta dies because he's too forward. Durgel now using Fosta as cover, realizing, well, Fosta died here, that doesn't exactly make me safer.
FC Dynamo looking for a shot onto Dark Ninja, but is not able to get the connection. Harmless is going to push up with relatively full HP, as Arclit does take down Durgel. Now, this isn't absolutely over for 07. I've seen bigger comebacks.
Yeah, this is totally possible, but this should have been more of a win for Dare.
They have the position, and something to keep an eye on is the mouse has been out of the fight for a large portion of this game.
He's been cover firing, though. He's had a perfect shot into the position where you can now see Warbander, Arclit, Colosoid. He was firing it.
Yeah, I mean, out of it in terms of his HP and his armor aren't in the fight. His gun was in the fight, absolutely, but now he's just going to roll in there, and he could just bully this if he can get there in time. However, he's not going to get the first reset. It's going to have to come down to Dark Ninja or 1, 2, 3 to get a reset here with 10 seconds left. Dark Ninja's going to push in. He's going to start clipping out tanks.
And he's on fire.
He's on fire. Arclit's going to push in, trying to cover for Colosoid, but Dark Ninja just shoots over Arclit, gets the kill. And trades are going to go back and forth, and now it is a 2v2. Aggressor out of the fight. Malo Putin bounces some shots off the front of Arclit.
And now he's on reload, so he retreats.
Now, this is possible, but what it's going to need is it's going to need a solid clip out of FC Dynamo onto Aggressor to make this even remotely possible.
And he's going to have to do that without taking any damage. Point that one out because he's at 102.
And Aggressor just creeping forward here. He's not even in the fight yet.
Well, yeah, he's been driving this whole time since you brought it up.
Yeah, but we were talking about speed and its relevancy earlier and the shift away from the mouse meta, but this is showing why the mouse can be a problem. It's going to take a little while. Now, it does bring a lot of armor and a lot of HP, and this is pretty much over because Aggressor is here. And FC Dynamo gets picked up by Aggressor. And 1, 2, 3 is going to push in here and clip out Arclit. And this should seal the series 5-2 in favor of Dare Rising.
Very well played from Dare. Strong start to their season, and they managed to win with a mouse in Sand River. It's not something that hasn't been done before. It's something where if we had to see a lot more flex play, it would have gone much poorer.
Overall, though, I do like the setup there from Dare. They understood their crossfires. Now, I will, caution teams for what it's worth against playing both the top right corner and the bull. It's a very delicate game to play. Now, Dare played it very well in terms of they understood when they were exposed. They backed off. They got the tanks into the backfield to cover them because if you get too separated, all of a sudden those heavy tanks where the Kronwagen were, that they're in easy isolation. So you need to be very careful to keep your guns to a position where they can quickly get down there to cover.
Yeah, the main point of that is the fact that there's some very nuanced ways to approach that entire defense that actually turn what is quite a nice crossfire, cover fire, or what have you, into actually a bunch of little shot traps or little alleys, which you could call them. And so just understanding the relative layout and your own numbers versus theirs, your damage output potentials versus theirs, and all of that, yeah, it's very difficult to defeat if you put yourself in that position even too.
Yeah, it has to be a very calculated attack to make it work, but the defense can slip up is my point and kind of give away some tanks they necessarily shouldn't necessarily for free.
I agree with that very much.
Yeah. So overall though, let's go ahead and see just how the end of that battle played out one more time real quickly.
Yes. Thank you so much to our replay team for this one, because this is one that I want to watch a little bit. So of this entire match, what we saw were some strong plays from Dare. We saw something that was almost tragic at the beginning, but it very quickly turned into the Dare that we want to see. Look at them on mines. That was beautiful. And then Cliff as well. I would really enjoyed the attack on Cliff. And then here the defense on Sand River, where Dare managed to just hold. For a moment, I was thinking it was going to go quite fully for Dare because of the isolations, because of the crossfires and the positions.
Yep, but they understood They understood that they understood the meta and how to get their tanks back together. And so I like that there. It gives me a little bit of confidence in their Sand River. So hopefully we'll see more of it going forward as 1-2-3 comes up here big, doing what he's used to doing, which is 3,700 damage and 100 fantasy points. Warbandit doing what he could, along with Makos, both putting up 2,800, which is respectable. Harmless coming in there with another 60 fantasy points. Arclet, 2,300, 2 kills, and trying to get some cap points in the end. Not successful, though. Another respectable 63 fantasy points. But FC Dynamo and Colsoid got shut down pretty hard here in the last battle, but overall they should have had pretty decent series.
Yeah, and then Andy Pans, unfortunately, Fosta, having a rough time. So that's what you get, unfortunately. But solid play. We're going to look at the post-match. This is what we want to talk about now, because look at that. Aggressor sitting up top, 14K. Right.
When I heard Aggressor was calling for the team this season, earlier this afternoon, I switched him out of my fantasy team, and I kind of regret that right now. Dark Ninja, though, 390 fantasy points. Not bad there at all. So overall, good performance from Dare 07, showing that they have the potential. They just need to kind of clean some things up, put in a little bit more work, and I think we'll see them as a threat later in the season.
Absolutely. But first things first, guys, let's welcome back to the show a representative from Dare. I believe it's Aggressor, to tell us a little bit about that win. Aggressor, welcome back, sir.
Hey, guys.
So, first things first. Let's talk a little bit about... Oh, excuse.
Sorry.
Little rough start. How'd you feel about that?
We started off mines.
You guys were attacking,
early.
Yeah. That was it?
Yeah, I made basically me and Nation were supposed to go at the same time. And I remember I think Rockstar said, like, oh, this mouse is I was kind of useless because, like, we're supposed to come in together and get the shots, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Nation died, and then I was kind of stuck there.
It made it look more like you came in as a reaction to him being exposed, almost.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been like that.
But after that, you guys turned it around. Defense on mines was stellar. And then a little back and forth on proc. I'll skip past that one because proc was just proc. We all know that, right?
Basically, yeah.
But Cliff. Tell me about Cliff, because Cliff's number 2, when you guys were on defense and you just took the hill. Tell us about that.
So I've been practicing like a lot of different strats on Cliff and stuff, and definitely what we did is kind of my evolution of how to play Cliff, and it's been working pretty well for us. I mean, of course, we have a couple other things we're going to do, but that was definitely one of my more favorite strats to do.
Yep, and then on Sand River here at the end, you guys showed that you had a pretty solid understanding of how you wanted to play that defense out. Was that some experience back in the day when Sand River was in League before, or was that you doing your homework, or how do you come about the strat that you ran there?
I mean, I used to play League back then, so I played on Sand River back then. Yeah, you know what I mean, Randall.
Yeah, what's up?
Old school. But
Yep.
Basically, with Tier 10, Sand River, I think, is a little bit more balanced than it was in Tier 8 because now you can actually, like, use armor and get hold down and spot stuff. But, I mean, we ran a pretty simple strat for Sand River. There's nothing really too flashy about it. I mean, they push in. We have to if they win the push, they win. If we kill them doing the push, we win. Like, it's really that simple. And they killed our guys, but we came back with the mouse with full HP, and it really helped us. And we had all the bat chats alive still.
So my one last question here before we let you go. During the last season finals, you guys kind of got put on tilt pretty early on when you guys went down some rounds and you kind of spiraled out of control. You started off a little bit slow, but you guys managed to claw back. What do you credit this newfound durability as you were to?
I mean, the finals were kind of rough after we didn't get second place and we didn't get to go to Moscow. That was really bad for like morale. So going into the next game in the finals, we were obviously all really defeated. And I mean, we're back into it now. Like, this is how we were playing when we were playing against Eclipse, and now we're back into it like how it should be, basically.
All right. Well, any final words for fans or sponsors out there?
Just keep watching, guys. Hopefully we can get you some more good games like that one. And 07 did really good, so definitely keep them on your fantasy rosters.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Arclight Aggressor, and have a good night.
Wow.
Getting tired there.
Yeah, dude. It's been a fun day. First 2 matches are just a good way to go. I liked watching Elevate smash Till Team 6, showing us why they're here and what that contrast is between a team coming into the league and a team that's established and quite good. Just understand that's what the contrast looks like. It looks like a 5-0.
Yeah, I'll say.
And then watching Dare versus 07, two teams that are relatively close in skill.
Yep.
And, well, just it's satisfying to watch, sir.
Yep. Well,
your thoughts?
No, I think that about sums it up. I think I've said pretty much everything I want to say. Make sure you guys check out the social media at WGLNA for highlights and I believe some score updates from some of the offline matches. So keep an eye on that as well as fantasy updates. The fantasy website should be updated shortly with the scores for tonight, provided Unknown One has everything squared away like he should. So anything on your end?
Nah, it was a pleasure. Good to be back, sir.
As always.
Yeah, it's great to be back, everyone.
Yeah, well, that does it for us, guys. Make sure you guys tune in on Thursday at the same time, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And just before that, at 4:45 Pacific for the Facebook live show, and at 5 o'clock Pacific for the WGLNA pre-show by Wargaming. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.